welcome to another show. And soon, in about 30 seconds' time, we're going to welcome Food for Thought Radio. At the moment, only listeners on Rumble, YouTube, Hollyland Radio, and a load of others. But first of all, I say good evening to Ben Emlyn-Jones. Good evening, Ben, and welcome to the show. And I'll welcome you again when we go on to Food for Thought Radio, which should be joining us in a few seconds.
Right. Oh, great. Well, thanks very much, Chris. Great to be back. Chris, Eric, whatever you want to call yourself.
Oh, call me anything you like, as long as it's not too late for me dinner. And as I say, Food for Thought Radio will be joining us in, should be, a few seconds.
Okay. Hello, Kingston Whitler. How are you? Brother Port, Pride and Dignity. Kingston Whitler is someone I know very well, yeah. So thanks for joining us, Kingston. Much appreciated, mate.
Hello, mate. How you going? And we had 40 yards, 13.97. I don't know what's happened to Food for Thought Radio, but it should be coming on any minute now. But it isn't.
Yes. Oh, well, at least we're on your video sharing. That's the main thing.
Well, that's the main thing. But I don't know what's happened. Paul, what's gone wrong?
Make up your mind. Fill up your day. Oink, oink. Smart little bites that brighten your way. You're listening to Food for Thought Radio. Here at FFTradio.com. Cluck, moo, oink.
Good evening and welcome to another exciting show. And we've been broadcasting on YouTube and Rumble for about a minute or so. And welcome Food for Thought Radio, Holland Radio FM. There's quite a lot here. Rumble, YouTube, and also Facebook. And it's a bit flaky. Sometimes Odyssey, if the wind's blowing in the right direction, there's an hour in a month. So there we go. And our guest tonight, who I've already introduced, but I'll introduce you again, is Ben Emlyn-Jones for the Ben Emlyn-Jones Report. So, hello, Ben. How you going, mate? Okay.
Hello, Chris. How's things? Yeah, not bad, mate. So you really need a whole link tree for your player page because it goes everywhere, which is good. More people the better, you know. The smaller people the better. But yeah, it's great to be back on the show again. So I'm sure there's no end of things going on in the world we can talk about, isn't there?
Always more than welcome. And you're hiding some sort of book there. I don't quite know who the author is. I mean, let's start with
get the plugs out of the way. Yeah,
that's right. We don't plug books on this show, do we? No plugging here. So, what's this Roswell Rising? Is this some porno book? Is it? You know, is it one of these?
No, I can't read like that.
Yeah, Roswell Rising. You know, about a lady called Roswell and no, sorry. Yes. Anyway, what? I assume it's about Roswell.
It is, and it's a novel, meaning it's not real, so it's like a story. But it's about the sort of subjects we talk about on programs like this, and I talk about regularly on my own website as well, HPANWO.com, and all its associated works. And it asks the questions: what would happen if we got the truth instead of the lies about these subjects? And this led to an imaginary scenario, which led to a story, and led to this book. So available at all good bookshops now, priced £10, and there's 2 sequels, so it's a whole trilogy of books you can read. If you like this show, you'll like the book, so go and get it now.
Good books, and he's a very good writer, and excellent writer, and also, can you get it on Amazon, or is Amazon a bit of a...
You can get it everywhere. Everywhere you buy books, this is available, yeah.
You can get it in all good bookshops, bad bookshops, crappy bookshops, and any bookshop you care to fancy.
Exactly.
So there we go.
If you go to Devices Books and Devices, and they actually do have it on the shelves, there's at least one book. There's at least one shop which actually has it on the shelves all the time. So that's really, really great. So thank you, Devices Books. I don't know where they got that from. I don't. They might have.
Oh, it's brilliant.
That's great.
That's good. And you find that you get orders. I mean, my dad's book, by World War II, by David James Powers, you find that when you have a look and see where people have bought it from, Japan all over the place. You think, huh? South America, you know what I mean? But and it's about World War II in Europe. But now, Alice Gorgeous, Eric, where is your cravat? I have a note from my parents. It's got a night off tonight, so one man in his cravat. Yes, I thought I was looking a bit, bit cool tonight, man. So there we go. And hi Ben from Alice Gorgeous,
secret Alice.
Girlfriend there. There we go.
Thanks for joining us, Alice. Good to see you.
Aunt Sally, evening, folks.
Hi, Aunt Sally. How are you?
Blue Roy, hi everyone. And we've got Sue Sparkle. We've got our cultural attaché, Arsburgers as Fudge. Marvellous name for our cultural attaché.
Hello, lovely name. People. Hello.
And we got Orwell. Hang on, I've lost myself. Where are we? We've got loads of people in tonight. Orwellian.
Hi, Orwellian.
Orwellian 88. Hello, Orwellian. We've got Emvro. He's our transport secretary. It's Embro 4000. Don't say anything about buses, okay? Nothing about buses. We haven't mentioned anything about buses. Nothing at all, Hang on, I pressed the wrong button here. We got Matilda. Hey.
Hi.
That's cool.
Matilda.
We got the Kingston Whittler as well. Hello, mate. Greetings, Brother Porter Jim. Hoping to hear your Coxloader impersonation. Quark.
Oh, right, yeah.
I thought, was that a duck with a air lip in it?
Now that's Kingston is someone I know watches my own show, and what he's actually saying is, what he's actually saying, he wants to hear me do an impression of Professor Brian Cox.
Which I yes, do. Please.
All right, I'll do it then quickly. Quark!
Are you a member like me of the Professor Brian Cox non-fan club?
I am President, CEO, and most passionate activist within it. Yes, I can't stand him. I can't stand the little person.
Do you know when you sort of see people like? Do you remember the fall and rise of Reginald Perrin? Whenever he thought of his mother-in-law, he thought of a hippopotamus. You saw this hippopotamus running across the screen. Whenever I think of Brian Cox, I think of a lavatory that hasn't been flushed. That's sort of, it just talks a load of crap, doesn't it?
That's a good description. That's a good description of him, actually. Yes.
Yes. Anyway, I hope his lawyer's not watching. We mean another Brian Cox. Anyway, we got Mark Anthony. Hello, mate. Forgot about you. Here we go.
Hi, Mark.
Now, hi everyone. DJ B2.
Oh, hello, DJ. Nice. Another familiar name. How are you doing?
And what's this? Isn't Quark how Jonathan Wass asked for Queen Quackers? I actually saw a fantastic advert. Now, I like people that can take the piss out of themselves. Seriously, we take ourselves too seriously. And one of them is Chris Eubank. He can take the piss out of himself. And there was this fantastic advert for coffee. There's a picture of Chris Eubank with a cup of coffee. It says, "Simply the best," with a TH.
Yeah. He's a bit of a self-parody, is old Eubank, Chris Eubank. Yeah, he's always been a bit of a...
Now, Aunt Sally has summed it up perfectly. A wet fart is more engaging than Professor Brian Cox.
Oh, yes. No wonder he's so famous, isn't it?
Spelled C-O-C-K-S, yes.
No wonder he's so famous.
Well, he's a BBC licker, isn't he, really? A bit like Stephen Fry and all the rest of them. So I can't stand on there. Anyway, tonight we've got an armchair general.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us what's happening in the Middle East, an armchair general. We've also got, it's on everybody's lips, is the Fockham Hall poll, which is on Telegram. And if during the show you wish to go onto my Telegram channel and vote, friends, the link is down below. No, not in my crutch, but actually in the list below. So let's see if we can bring it up on the actual. No, hang on, I pressed the wrong bleeding button, haven't I? Bring it up on the caption scanner. Let's have a look. See if we got it. No. Well, I'll have to read it out in that case, unless I can bring it up here. Right. And I put here, most of us realise fear porn is a way of controlling the population. I missed the of out. It's usually hyped up nonsense. Let's vote on what has given you the best laugh, okay? And so far, there's 2 at level packing, okay? Ready? It's virus nonsense at 31%, overpopulation at 31%. Then we go back down to global warming extravaganza, 25%. And those naughty Russians wanting to bomb our chip shops at 18%. Then we got naughty flu at 12%. Oh, hole in ozone layer, 18%. Acid rain at 12%. Nuclear war, 6%. False flag, terrible what's-its, 6%. Sea currents changing, 6%. All running out, 6%. And, of course, naughty flu, 12%. So there we go. So that's the poll. So if you want to vote on it, please, join the Telegram channel and you can vote on what fear porn has given you the best laugh. And apparently it's meningitis now, and that's the latest, meningitis. That's the latest one from Kent, isn't it? But do you reckon they come up with another one? I mean, that's beaten the chicken flu, isn't it, really? I mean, that's...
Well, it's really astonishing how many different scenarios of doom there are in the world. I mean, there's literally a list as long as your arm. And if one becomes less credible, there seems always to be another one waiting in the wings. And so whatever happens, it seems we're doomed. We're finished. The Earth is going to die. We're all going to die. And I mean,
that's right. Yes.
That's good, DJ. Yeah.
Oh, that's a brilliant one. Brian Cox is the lavatory that Tony Blair used to visit whilst wearing a dress.
I'm going to congratulate General Tall as well, because General Tall has a very, very good memory, because he or she remembers knobs for cocks. Now that is, that is actually something from 2011. Believe it or not. Yeah, that's something I was. We were going to send him doorknobs, you see.
I see.
He called people knobbers, so we were going to send him doorknobs. It's an old story, and I'm really, really pleased you remember that. But yeah, on the subject of doomsday scenario.
Sorry, mate. Just a quick. I was in the process of writing a book called 1,001 Cures for Itches, but my laptop crashed and I lost all the notes I'd saved, so I had to start from scratch.
Oh!
Aunt Sally. Actually, we could do a poll on the most obnoxious people on the BBC, couldn't we?
That's tough competition you got there.
It is tough.
Yeah.
Congratulations. There's Stephen Fry. Oh, I am so patronising and condescending to you because I'm so clever, Stephen Fry. Brian Cox. We can actually ask people for a future poll for next week. Now, Aunt Sally said, I'm a good girl because I voted before the show. And where's running out of toilet paper? Yes. Now, can we ask?
Actually, it's funny that DJ said that, because that's actually happening now. People are already panic buying partly because of the meningitis outbreak in Kent, but also because of the current situation in Iran, which is getting quite tense. And I know I've got a friend of mine actually who lives in Kent, who actually went to the petrol station and they run out, and he couldn't find one. He couldn't find one where that he could actually fill his car up, because all their tanks are empty, because everyone's been everyone in the bloody county's been filling up.
Yeah.
So if that happens, they run out, and so they're now waiting. They say come back when we get another delivery. So he now has a car he can't really use.
That's a shame. Now, by the way, Aunt Sally said, laugh out loud, the chat jokes are better than Eric's. Say, oh, aren't they? They're bleeding good. Yeah, I'm taking notes here. And by the way, did you know that Alice Gordon says that they say meningitis is sexist? It should be themingitis.
Oh, yeah. That's right. We can always flee to the Isle of Person. It's not called the Isle of Man anymore.
That's right. Well, it's a long way from the Virgin Isles, isn't it, the Isle of Man? So, but you were saying, mate. Sorry, I rudely interrupted.
It's okay. I was. Was it? Yeah. I was talking about forgot what it was. Oh yeah, different doomsday scenarios. Now, in psychological warfare, there's something called future shock, which is a method they use, and organisations like the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations and Stanford Research Institute, they all are into this sort of thing. And what it means is making people, is basically demoralising a population by convincing them there's 101 things to be scared of in the world, and whatever, there's so many that you know very well that one of them is going to come and bite you in the future and cause absolute catastrophe and apocalypse. As a result, people in that situation tend to become very, very docile, because because if there's no future for them to plan for, there's nothing to look forward to, then the present really doesn't matter. And these psychological warfare agents are very, very good at doing that. They're very, very good at gauging people's abilities, because you can also enrage people if you frighten them too much. So they know exactly, they're trying to find a balance right now between enraging us, getting to the point where we become enraged and we become more active and more angry and more rebellious, and also trying to gauge that against the point where we just simply go limp and become docile, and we're so frightened and so horrified by everything bad that's going on in the world. And some of it is real, and indeed some of it is something that they've created and intended to happen because they like it, that we essentially just give up on life. So it could be any of those. I mean, as far as that list, what would I vote? I think, let me think, maybe I'll go with the majority and say it's one of these disease things, the meningitis, maybe. I mean, it's a nasty disease. I mean, it's far worse than the C word, if you get that. But the government are going to try, and I think they're going to try and take advantage of this, because they say by May, if there's no improvement or the outbreak doesn't ease, they might have to introduce lockdowns. What's happening in May? Elections, which we know that the Starmer regime has tried to cancel before.
That's right.
We know they've tried to find other reasons to cancel it. They've tried to put it down to the reorganisation of the local government and things like that means we have to postpone these elections. That has actually been a court has actually forbidden that now. So, are the governments going to get up and let themselves get obliterated in the next election, or are they going to try and find another way to cancel it? And if they keep finding ways to cancel elections, at some point they may decide to do what Adolf Hitler did when he got into power. When he won the election in 1932, he became chancellor a few months later. He said, well, now Germany has the perfect government, so we don't need elections anymore. And the Starmer regime does consider itself, I think, the perfect government. I mean, their inflated opinion of themselves is unbelievable. The entitlement, the self-righteousness is incredible among these people. And so, well, maybe they just think, well, maybe we should just get rid of all elections from now on. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them.
Well, that's it. And also, people gasp and shock at when Adolf Hitler came in. I believe it was a third of the hospitals had seriously disabled people in them, and they disappeared. That's disabled people. But now they're doing it in Canada, which is called MAID, which is assisted suicide, and now they're talking about it's becoming a big thing in this country as well, along with abortions up to the birth, which to me is murder.
Oh God, this is unbelievable.
That really is murder to me.
Why? And I can't believe it's been nodded through Parliament like there's no.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the House of Lords are going to say about this, because I know that Starmer wants to basically obliterate the House of Lords. I mean, it's in the form that we know it, with the hereditary peers. And he says things like, the supporters of this they've been saying this for years. It's undemocratic because we have unelected old white men running, helping run the government. Well, these unelected old white men have a sense of patriotism and noblesse oblige, which is complete absence in these suited bureaucrats. We need those guys to keep these career politicians in check. That's the whole point of the House of Lords. That's why it was set up. And Starmer wants to replace it with Starmer won't be any better under the new system. Instead of the hereditary peers, we will have much worse people. We'll have sycophantic party donors and horrible, corrupt ex-cabinet ministers and people like that. And so this is the idea that you can actually kill a baby would have been unthinkable. I mean, I don't think there should ever be.
It's immoral.
Apart from maybe some extreme medical situations, I don't think you should ever kill a baby at any time. But now they want to, like, a baby that could be born, they want to kill now.
Well,
I mean, it's unbelievable.
That's right.
This astonishes even me.
It shocks me. I mean, you were in the profession of saving lives, helping people.
23 years hospital porter.
That's it, and that is a very honourable thing to do.
Thanks.
And I think that it's a bit like many conscientious objectors in times of war were stretcher bearers, who a lot of them got killed and seriously injured. People sort of look at the caring professions, but the way I see it is that where I don't believe in government. Seriously, I don't really believe it. And I was talking about this last night with Steve, and for many years I believed in government, but now I realise that the people that get into power are not only corruptible, I think they're demonic, and I do believe that they're psychopathic. They've got to be. There are a few good politicians, yes. I think they're decent ones, but look what happened with Tony Blair. Now, I reckon that when Tony Blair, years ago, before he became powerful, he was a reasonable sort of bloke. He's okay. And then suddenly, when he got into the House of Commons and got power under him, he just became demonic. And looking at him now with his eyes sort of, like this. And I think that folk tend to work things out fine for themselves. And we could, I think, if we clicked our fingers now and said, right, we're going to go away with government tomorrow morning, it would be absolute chaos. There'd be looting, there'd be Christ knows what. It'd have to be a gradual process. But societies that do not have a government as such have been and groups that have not had rulers have been very successful. Look at the Yellow Vests. They had no ruler. Yeah. They had no leader.
I should make a couple of comments on what you said. Firstly, the stretcher bearers. I mean, the stretcher bearers. It's ironic, and I mean, this may apply to the current day with the advent of conscription.
Yes.
But those stretcher bearers, despite the fact they risked their lives, they went into no man's land. They stepped over barbed wire. They had to watch where they were putting their feet because of landmines and things like that to rescue the wounded soldiers. They were still called cowards because they wouldn't fight the government's war for them. And we're going to see more of that. They would, and as far as governments are general, now it's interesting that people, you hear this from the government all the time. You need us. Without us, there'd be chaos. Without that, there'd be internecine continuous violence, and society would fall apart. And this is why you need us. And because we keep law and order, you see, and we maintain society's structure. Now, funny enough, the people who say that are the people with a vested interest in their existence. So what would actually happen if there was no government? Well, for a while, would it really be that bad? Because I think if the government disappeared tonight, we woke up in the morning, you'd still see buses running. You would still see dustbins being emptied and things like that. You wouldn't see any policemen. But then, how good are the police? How good are the police literally at fighting crime?
They're not. They're the worst they've ever been.
You get burgled, or I know people who've been assaulted on the street, and they call the police, and you get a crime number, and you never hear from them again. What would happen? I'll tell you what would happen if we woke up tomorrow and there was no government. When it comes to law and order, which is probably the most common argument you hear about the need for government and the argument against anarchism, we would form citizen militias, which would protect our communities from any ne'er-do-wells who want to do us harm. Who want to hurt us or steal our property and things like that. And these citizen militias, we'd also have courts, we'd also set up our own courts and things like that. And these citizen militias and courts wouldn't go around rounding people up for saying nasty things on Twitter and being offensive on Facebook. They would deal with the crimes that people are most concerned about. If you give an opinion poll of the citizens, of the people, and ask them which crimes concern you the most, how many of them say Facebook offensiveness? None of them. What they say is, they say violent crime, and they say things like vandalism, theft, car theft, burglary, things like that. They all say the same things: violent crime, car theft, vandalism, burglary, things like that. They all say that. Now, these are the crimes that the citizen militia would prioritise.
That's right.
And I swear to you, what I believe is that in a world without a government actually could become a much more peaceful and law-abiding place than the world with a government.
Speak to Survival Steve. He looked right into this. This is what we were talking about last night. And I think it's Gustave Le Bon who wrote the book, was it The Group? And he reckons when people form groups, they become stupid. Look at politics, for example, groups. I actually lost a lot of members from my Telegram group because they looked at it the wrong way. Because I'm not saying all groups. What I'm saying is that is individualism is what we need. So we're talking about lack of leadership, and I think there's a kind of guidance thing. But Alice Gorgeous says, and thanks, Alice. Any questions? Put in capitals. Alice, thanks. You've done it well. Because as Ben's talking, it looks a bit rude. I'm having to keep an eye on chat. So if you've got any questions for Ben, capital letters, please, but jump on it straight away. Does Ben have any? Thanks, Ben. Does Ben have any suggestions as to how we free ourselves?
Well, that's a excellent question, Alice, and it's a very big question, and there's numerous answers to that and numerous possibilities. That's interesting. That's a difficult thing to say, because you could say, well, an alternative state might be the solution. I mean, I've just been talking about how bad states are unnecessary in society. But I think the state we have at the current time, as Chris has just been explaining, Eric or Chris,
anything you like, I don't mind. Whatever falls into your mind first. I couldn't care less.
Well, Chris, he's just been explaining how the current state is actually being used as a tool of the demonic psychopaths. Now, supposing something changed in the world to remove those demonic psychopaths, if that happened, then if that happened, then I think the situation would solve itself, because then we would still have a state, but it would be people like Andrew Bridgen and Rupert Lowe and the few politicians I feel any kind of respect for or admire in any way. They would be the ones who would then rise to the top. At the moment, these people are all backbenchers and are likely to remain so, because the Starmers and the Badenochs and the Lammies of this world won't let them in because they serve the demon. You see, so that's one. So it could be, Alice, that I suppose maybe if we tackle the root cause, which is the demonic thing. I mean, it's such a difficult question to answer, but I actually literally don't know, because we have a state that has a monopoly of force essentially, and could wield force against us. And believe me, they're only interested in wielding force against. They're at war with their own people. They're not. We know for a fact that our military is incapable of fighting Iran right now, and it's a token gesture to try and say we can take on Iran. And we've seen like the forces of law and order have been focused away from foreign conflicts towards internal conflicts against the people. We have a state at war with itself. How do we free ourselves from that? Well, we can't. I don't think we can fight them. We can't literally fight them in the streets. There's just too many of them, and they're too powerful in terms of physical force. There has to be something that will come out of left field. I don't believe in a no-win situation. I don't believe I would be doing this right now and saying these things if it wasn't possible for some form of lawful rebellion. I know that's a loaded term, isn't it? But that will in some way cause a change in this world. I mean, this is something I actually deal with in my book. If you read the book, this is questions I go into quite detail in the book and its two sequels.
Available from all good bookshops. Roswell Rising. Sorry, I just
thanks, Chris. And you know what, Alice? I wish I could have like a 3-sentence, 1-paragraph answer to your question. But I'm waiting to see what comes out of left field right now.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, there was. I want to get him on the show. There's a Hell's Angel bloke. And when you look at him, he's quite imposing fella. He wouldn't take it. Great big bloke.
They tend to be on
he's starting up a police force, and he said if a woman feels that she thinks she's going to get raped, or if a young child thinks there's a pedo after him or her, they just phone a number, and one of his people will be on that spot pretty quick. And he said their very presence alone, you don't argue. Bloody great blokes, full of tattoos, great big sort. You wouldn't argue with them, tough guys.
Yeah,
they're doing their job.
That's what I mean by citizen militia. Citizen militia would be like that. Yeah, and and the thing is, our government, the police, and the courts that we have now will. I mean, I wish this guy luck. I really do, because the police and the government are going to come down on this guy like a ton of bricks. They would be much harder on him than they would be on any of the criminals and any of the violent thugs that he's trying to protect the people from.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You look, judge them by their actions, not their words. We know who they hate. We know who they're trying to attack. Mm-hmm. We know who they're trying to bring down, and it's the people who it's, for example, if the lady who was praying outside an abortion clinic, she's the real threat. They bring 3 officers around to drag her away. Things like that. The Lucy Connolly, who just, she put a silly tweet up and she said she was sorry, but no, they got to put her away for the 2.5 years. And things like that. You look at who they prioritise in terms of who they deal with. But why did they sack me from my job? Right. Why did they kick me out of hospital portering?
Yeah,
I could go on. Yeah.
I know what you mean, Ben. Thanks, I've seen just one. It's very, very good, Haji. I've known Ben since Ken Baker. I think he passed away, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, very sad. We lost Kev.
Poor man. He was a nice guy. He was.
Great. Yeah.
I've seen one video of a policewoman, not backed by her colleagues, doing what she should be doing, and it was a man standing on the street preaching Christianity in a Muslim area.
That's right. Yes,
now the Muslims were shouting all in it, and she said, "This is a free country. Here we're in England. He has every right to stay in here and preach. And if you don't like it, just sort of go away." I can't remember it verbatim. Now she's doing what she should be doing. That's her job, and I think she had guts to do it. And I'm sick of these police moving people on for preach. I mean, you can preach whatever you like. If they want to stand on the street and preach whatever religion they've got, Muslim or Hindu or whatever, fine. You should be free to do that if you want to, as long as you're not harassing anybody or bothering anybody. If you don't like what they're saying, well, you can just walk away, or you can have an intelligent discussion with them.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was Whitechapel in the East End of London, and I was really pleasantly surprised, because it's a very high immigrant area. I was really pleasantly surprised that she did make that stand for the street preaching.
Yes,
I hope she hasn't been hope the chief constable hasn't sent her off for a reassignment education or something like that.
Well, that's it. Now, Nanny and Grandad. Hello, Nanny and Grandad. A question. That's a nice name, isn't it? A question for Ben. Golders Green ambulance fire. Yeah, I saw something about that. False flag? If not, who's behind it?
Right, I don't know much about this. I just saw it literally just popped up on MSN as I was getting home from work, and I just know that they chased away an Al Jazeera journalist who was trying to report on it. Golders Green, of course, is a major Jewish area, and this, of course, we're dealing with essentially an internal conflict in this country between the Jews and Muslims. The Jews primarily will be pro-Israel, and the Muslims will be mostly anti-Israel. And this is played out in a series of riots, protests, and indeed sometimes violence. We've seen this mosque in a synagogue in Manchester was attacked by a guy with a knife. A couple of people were killed. Things like that. Now, how much of it? I mean, when it comes to false flag terrorism, false flag attacks, we know these things happen. We know that they're carried out. Now, I haven't looked into this particular incident close enough to know whether or not that actually did happen. But what someone says here about it had G6 on the roof. I wish I could answer your question, but I haven't looked into this closely enough. But
it does seem to be.
There's been violence.
Sorry, mate, I've just spoke across you. I'm terribly sorry.
That's all right. It's okay. I was just going to say that sometimes this is staged. So, for example, we know that things like 9/11. Well, there's something suspicious about that. Well, in fact, that was very suspicious. There's lots of others. Some of the smaller scale ones involving stabbings, even those are a bit dodgy. You get things like clothes shop dummies lying on the floor and things like that. So, obviously, this again is, I think, a part of, for whatever reason, the government want us to be afraid of various things. This sort of thing engenders fear in the population. It makes us more likely to support maybe foreign wars of various kinds, things like that. Especially if something can be pinned on an enemy country. So I wouldn't whatever. So to answer the was it Nanny and Grandad? To answer their actual question.
Hang on, I'll go back to it. I've just made
to answer their question. I think the answer could be if you find this being blamed on Iran. So, for example, it was an Iranian agent that did this, that attacked this ambulance in Golders Green. I would not accept that on face value. In my view, it may just be some idiot on the street who decided to do it, but it's more likely, I think, to be staged in some way.
Well, you're right.
It's impossible to know for sure.
Well, it's a bit like when the elite look over the ramparts and see the natives getting on, they're worried. When they see the natives fighting, they're relaxed. And I think it's the old thing, divide and rule. And I actually do believe they're stirring up trouble deliberately, so we're not watching what they're doing. I really do believe that. Now, regarding, I've got to be careful here, Jews and that, they are a very divided group of people, and there's loads of them that are anti-Israel, that are pro-Palestine.
Yes, right.
And there's some...
Norman Finkelstein, I mean, he's a Jewish guy.
Well, that's right. But these fellas, what they call Orthodox ones in that Stanford Hill, and they've got a video of it, and they're passionately against Israel. And there was a rabbi that stood up in Manchester, and he said, incredible speech, he said, I was advised not to come here today, but I have come here today, and he was pro-Palestine. So I think sometimes they are a very divided group, and there is a theory that they've got to have constant war to keep the groups together, because war bonds countries together.
Well, this is interesting you say that, because I know within the Jewish community there's differences of opinion on almost everything. I mean, there's this joke about Robinson Crusoe. If he'd been Jewish, he would have built 2 synagogues on his island, one to worship in and one to refuse to worship in. They do. There's so many different synagogues. There's Reform Jews and there's Hasidic and there's various other kinds of Jewish faiths.
About Friday, do you want to buy some food? Sorry.
They disagree on everything. As far as it's funny you bring up this. You brought up the need for war. Now I'm not like partisan in this conflict. I'm not pro or anti-Israel. The same goes for the Palestinians. I'm not pro or anti the Palestinians. I feel sorry for all the innocent people caught up in this conflict.
Take the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, and the people who've been bombed. I feel sorry for all of them. What I do think is quite likely is it was actually Efrat Fenixson who actually brought this up, who's a former Israeli intelligence officer, which is that Netanyahu is the reason people like Netanyahu and for other former government officials in Israel, the reason when they go into these various conflicts, they never completely, they always withdraw when the job's not finished. The Israelis cynically call this mowing the grass. In other words, they just go in there, they do a little bit of a retaliation, and then they withdraw, leaving their supposed enemy Hamas intact. And so Israelis often say, well, why'd you do this? Why'd you leave the enemy to regroup? Why'd you allow them to receive foreign aid? Because they do as well as Israel. The Islamists receive foreign aid. Why'd you allow this to happen? And it's a question that is based on the assumption that the interests of the interests of the people and the interests of the state are the same. So the state will have basically the same opinion of the people and basically want to do good for the people of whatever country that you're in. And it's the same whichever country you're talking about here. I think once you realize that the state has very, very different interests and very, very different goals and ambitions and agendas than the people, the citizens of a nation, this all makes more sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense that, for example, when the Hamas kidnappers and killers attacked on October the 7th, 2023, they met with no resistance at all from the IDF, even though the border there is one of the most heavily defended on earth. There's literally a fence which is virtually impenetrable. Also, lots of very, very high technology sensors which are sold to Israel or given to Israel by Americans and things like that. And Germans send a lot of military aid and technology. I think Germany actually sends more than the US. So yeah, these guys didn't sneak over the border with kind of stealth aircraft. They used bulldozers and paragliders and motorbikes.
So they said.
Yeah. So, and nobody tried to stop them.
First casualty of war is truth, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like Netanyahu kind of wanted this to happen because it's given him a lot of credibility, hasn't it? He was very, very unpopular. He still is unpopular in Israel, and people demonstrate against him all the time. Now he's a wartime leader, where Israel is facing one of its greatest crises ever, and so suddenly all these cries. Netanyahu's now that the pressure is off on him now, very much off on him. And so you make sense. So you realise then that this is what I mean by the government having a different interest to the people, and they're not above throwing their own people to the wolves for a political purpose. Absolutely not. It's happened many, many times before.
Now,
how many people died on 9/11? 3,000 people in the World Trade Center and Pentagon died on 9/11.
Well, DJ Beto said there's a difference. I didn't know this between Orthodox and what's this Chabad? I never heard of Chabad, although they wear the same costume.
Oh, the Chabad Lubavitch Center. Yeah, they're kind of like really. They're the ones. They were the guys digging the tunnels, strangely enough, because they believed the apocalypse was coming.
Oh,
do you remember that? It was quite funny, actually.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
in New York City.
All these bleeding yes,
it's kind of funny, but they believed that maybe they got reason to think this, but they believe the Chabad Lubavitch people. They believe that the Messiah is about to come up, Moshiach the Messiah, and it's going to be entering the end times. And so they started digging these tunnels under the road between their various houses. These tunnels have now been demolished because they didn't get planning permission. And they've been sheltering down there. I mean, the officials were pulling mattresses out of these tunnels, indicating they were literally sleeping down there because they think the end of the world is coming.
There's wackadoos in almost every religion, isn't there? I mean, there's always a whack with the eccentrics, but I think I agree with what you said. I mean, I because of what my father went through during the war, I was brought up without toy guns and things like that as a basic pacifist. But in saying that, I'm pacifist in the respect of I would not fight somewhere where a politician has told me that they are the enemy, because decent folk throughout the world. I mean, there was a book that was written many years ago by a chap that cycled around the world, and he said that 99% of people are absolutely fantastic. It's the 1% you've got to watch out for. But my way I look on it is, yes, I'm a pacifist where it comes masses of armies fighting each other, a waste of time. But if someone came into my house and tried to attack me, I'd knock my bales of crap out of them. And if someone was going to rape a woman or attack a young child, I'd knock 9 bales of crap out of them as well. So I'm only a pacifist where it comes to, and I don't like labelling myself or labels on people, where it comes to governments ordering people to fight. But you were saying earlier about stretcher bearers. They were labelled as cowards and that. Also, bomb disposal, the majority of those in bomb disposal were conscientious objectors. And my father, soon after D-Day, he was in frontline intelligence, and it's right. We're not special, we're not elite. He was on the lowest rank of army intelligence, frontline intelligence. And the reason he got in is because they had such a high casualty rate, at the highest. And some German stretcher bearers wandered into British lines, and quite a lot in frontline intelligence could speak German, and these fellas could speak English, and they went out rescuing and bringing back, because British stretcher bearers have been killed because it was such fierce fighting. For 48 hours, they went out collecting wounded from no man's land, and they had to be ordered to be stopped because it was against the Geneva Convention. Now and there's plenty of Tommies and Germans that owe their lives after the war to those brave men. And my dad wanted to give them a mention on Classic FM, and they ignored it.
Lovely. I mean,
they ignored it. They didn't play anything, and the German press, who wanted to try and find them to say thank you, didn't want to print it.
It's a shame that they didn't. And as more and more of the World War II veterans die off, then
there's hardly any left now.
Yeah, I mean, there's only a handful of very old ones now, and indeed, when it comes to the Great War, then none at all. But we should never let these things be forgiven, and because what you just described is just like the Christmas truce, where the Germans and the British played football in no man's land and things like that, and then when Christmas was over, of course, back they went to their trenches and carried on blowing Greek buggery out of each other for the next 4.5 years. But it's sad that you see it's very, very revealing about the true nature of war, which is that 95% of it is unnecessary and is manipulated and organised by the political classes. It's organised deliberately, to quote George Orwell, because war is not meant to be won or lost, but to be continuous.
Sustainable.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I think goes back to G. Edward Griffin and his discovery, his work on the financial system. One of the reasons that the creature from Jekyll Island, the Federal Reserve Act, was passed, which of course began in the Bank of England. It didn't begin in the United States. It began in the Bank of England. Was because if you couldn't actually have a war of the scale of the Great War, which came just a few years later, because under the gold standard, no one could afford it. And since we came off the gold standard, it basically you have an infinite supply of money for whatever nefarious reason you want. You can always deny you have the funds to fix the roads and to pay nurses and things like that as much as you like. But when it comes to these destructive new policies that come about, they can just get out the fiat currency hosepipe, and before you know it, you have the military-industrial complex setting up factories everywhere. And then you get like people in the financial circuit funding both sides, which is what the Bank of England did in the Great War, and in World War II. For example, there's Prescott Bush, the father and grandfather of two U.S. presidents, George H.W. and George W. Funneled money to the Nazi regime in Germany, and circumvented the neutrality laws of the United States. And it was very obvious people were turning a blind eye to this. So it's things like this that do reveal the truth behind what's really going on. What you don't read in the newspapers, what you find out when you look behind the scenes, it gives you a clue about what the political classes are actually doing to each other, what they're actually talking about behind closed doors. And we should look for those signs rather than the media flannel, in my view.
You're right. Now, Mike Mantis says, and I've answered him in chat, have you read The Unknown Warriors book by Nicholas Pringle? No. I will check it out, though. It sounds interesting. Thanks for that. But, no, I think that's the big problem with lots of war books. It's all gung-ho. And when my dad tried to get his book published, that's all the publishers wanted, gung-ho. And he said, I'm not having anything altered in it. This is the truth. And I want the truth to come over. And in the end, I had to publish it. Because, and details, again, below, if you want to get it. It's available on Amazon. So there we go. Hang on. Radio Soapbox has gone off. That's it. Has it gone stale?
What was it I said? Did someone press a red button?
I don't know, but we're still on Food for Thought Radio. Oh, see, that's the one I missed out, isn't it? Yes. Now, what's this? Mike Mantis said he put an advert in newspapers for World War II veterans to interview about their experiences and their views on current society. That sounds interesting. That sounds very interesting. But now... we've got the Armchair General, haven't we? So here it is, Armchair General. Middle East, things are going bang, bang, bang there. Could lead to nuclear war. What else? Any fear porn? The next 48 hours are going to be decisive. And was it the Marines or some force from America are going to capture an island? Right, okay, that's it. That's all you need to know. Yeah, and that's all you get. And, have you seen that Chinese bloke who's Canadian accent? So he goes, well, I can't really take off a Chinese Canadian. So, they're taking it out and doing it. And basically, they're just chewing over the same old fat time and time and time again. It's the same crap, isn't it? Just refurbished.
It's to do with the Strait of Hormuz, because Iran's been blockading the Persian Gulf for the last couple of weeks, and now they've got an ultimatum, which is you've got to open it and allow these oil tankers through. Otherwise, we're going to start sinking your ships and stuff like that. And so it's a scary thing that they're doing this, and it's the government are literally playing dice with our lives. And the lives, not just the lives of the military personnel in the region, but also the lives of everyone else. So, and we've been told, of course, to get people on side, they're saying things like, do you know that there's a news story about how Iranian missiles could hit Britain within, 20 minutes? Now, I don't know if
they can't reach here.
Remember this. Yes, but how many people are old enough to remember this? Because when I say, who sexed up that dossier? Do you know what I mean when I'm saying that?
Yes.
What I'm saying is we've heard this before. We heard this quarter of a century ago after the 9/11 thing, when we were told the Iraqi missiles could hit us in 37 minutes. So the time's coming down. I mean, the Iranians are quicker than the Iraqis, obviously.
Yeah.
But
they got a shorter fuse, but they like, it's like,
And there's someone mentioned in chat earlier about Diego Garcia. Apparently, the Iranians have actually fired a missile at the British base on Diego Garcia, which is still British, despite the fact that David Lammy wants to give it away. But it didn't. Well, the missile never reached its target, if it even existed, because the Iranians are now denying.
Well, they've denied it because they said their missiles have got a range of only 2,000 miles, and that's 4,000 miles. So
that's how they're supposed to reach London.
Because all the newspapers. All the
newspapers saying, I mean, obviously these are just headlines. If you read the papers, you get a bit more serious analysis. But they're saying Iranian missiles targeting London and things like that. Most people just look at the headlines these days. And despite, clear heads will, in times like this when fear is brought in, clearer heads do not prevail. This is why the government psychologists so much love making people scared. And it's a trick we've used before. It's a trick they've used before. Yeah. Younger people won't remember it. But yeah, there's...
1973 oil crisis. I know this, I think, for a fact, because I heard it from separate sources. Now, in the sort of, when I was doing contract work in architecture, I got a contract down at Stanford-le Hope, or Stanford-No Hope, as we used to call it. And it was to redesign a control centre, you see, which if the oil storage cylinders went up, blew up, then this control centre, they would shut all the valves down and this, that and the other, and it had to be bomb-proof. Anyway, I went along there, and there was a couple of old boys there that had retired, but they would do like sweeper-uppers and things like that. And they'd worked in the oil industry for years, and they said in this 1973 oil crisis, tankers were dropped anchor in the Channel and weren't allowed to come into Britain by government orders, so as to create a shortage so that people didn't see them coming in, and because what happens is great big oil tankers go into the Netherlands, where they decant the oil into smaller tankers that come across the Channel and go into Tilbury, places like that, in Stanford-le Hope. And they said the government didn't want people to see, because of Thames, lots of people could see tankers coming in. So there's loads and loads and loads of tankers, all dropped anchor in the Channel, to deliberately create an oil shortage when there wasn't a shortage. And this is what I think they're going to do again.
Of course, well, they're already saying, because there's this. What was the details? They want to open this pipeline that runs from the Persian Gulf. If you look on a map, you can see what it says, to Jeddah on the coast of the Red Sea, and it's now it's actually the Western powers are trying to stop the Saudis doing that, because if they did that, the oil tankers wouldn't have to go into the Persian Gulf. They can actually pick up the oil from Jeddah and take it wherever it's needed. And now and it's actually the Western powers saying, no, don't do that. It's pretty obvious that they want. It's exactly the same situation again, more than 50 years later. They want to use the same trick, and of course, as we've already seen, people are panic buying petrol, which is just perfect. That's exactly what they want. They want people panicking, and they want, if the petrol runs out completely, of course, everything grinds to a halt.
That's right.
And everyone will be terrified, and they will turn to Big Daddy government and say, for God's sake, just do anything to rescue us from this situation.
That's right. That's right. So, and they're talking about 50 miles an hour speed limit and all this crap. And Exo says, is that professor, the Chinese one, the real deal or an implanted academic stooge? I don't know, but I've got my suspicions. So there we go. But
when people start parroting the government line and they suddenly become very famous and they're on every TV screen, I think to myself, either they're having their ego stroked, and so they just do it, or they are literally knowingly spreading lies and disinformation. It's one or the other.
Now, Stolen Hellcat says Jiang, that's a Chinese geezer who's Canadian, I think, says he doesn't know why Europe is being flooded by immigrants by the people in charge. He's either ignorant or stupid. Well yeah, I mean, why we say any more?
It's just crazy. Of course, it's we've discussed this on previous shows. Right? If he doesn't know that, it's possible he doesn't. It's possible he is truly sitting there thinking, well, why are the government doing something which is so utterly destructive to the well-being of the of the nation state and its social cohesion. Can't they see it's the most crazy thing imaginable? Well, again, we're assuming the government have the same interests as us. They want to protect us from harm. They want the country to work. They want everything to function, and that they're very, very sorry that it's causing so many problems, filling up the hotels, high crime rates, things like that. And they're just you see, they're just so incompetent. They keep messing up, and they're so lily-livered by liberal democratic piety that they just can't bring themselves to do any deportations. And again, that is exactly what I said earlier. We assume that they have the same interests as us and the same agenda, when actually, when you realise they don't, you'll realise that it's not something they're just allowing to happen. It's something they're making happen. It's something they're not letting in immigrants; they're bringing them in. And even the Albanian government is saying this. The Albanian government is actually saying, where's the money coming from for the people smugglers? So half the 20 to 40-year-old men in Albania are now in this country.
That's right.
And they're just getting fed up. They're getting fed up in Albania because there's no one to sweep the streets or mind the coal and stuff like that, because they're all over here in hotels.
That's right. And third world countries, they're saying, we need their nurses and doctors and that. So how are they going to get their nurses and doctors? In that way, that's a racial discrimination against them.
Brain drain.
But you can't blame the immigrants, because if you were in their position, you would take the ticket. You think, blimey, that's good, going over to a better way of life. And because they come from countries that are absolutely dire. Now, wouldn't it be better to spend the money on boosting those countries up so that we'd actually have rubber dinghies going the opposite way? They want to go home of their own volition. They think, bloody hell, yeah, I'm going back home there. And I think the big problem is people are being moved around the earth by economics. And that's what immigration's all about, economics. I think it'd be nice if people were in a place where they want to be, not forced to be due to economics. And I think we'd see a nicer world if the third world they weren't plundered, and you think a fraction of the wealth of the Rothschilds, if that was pumped into the third world, boy, it'd be quite a nice place to go to.
But of course they won't do that, because they want that push and pull factor, because that's how the people smugglers, which I'm sure, I can't prove it, but I'm sure they're receiving subsidies from the state. It's how they work. It's how they persuade people who would probably, like you say, be better off if they just stayed in their own countries and worked to make their own countries better.
Right.
Which is perfectly possible. I mean, despite the fact that people say, well, evil white people were so horrible 100 years ago that these countries are still suffering. Nonsense, absolutely not. I mean, I don't do this sort of guilt stuff, In fact, the British Empire was well on its way, actually, to creating a far better quality of life for people before it collapsed, before it just disappeared.
Well,
but
the English abolished slavery.
Exactly, and then the point is that. Again, if you try to appeal to the government with common sense and decency, you realise that they don't think like that, because for them, their agenda is very, very different to us. Their agenda is to continue with this situation and make it worse, which means they won't do any of the things you suggest, even though it makes perfect sense. So that's how it's. That I think is how it will unfold until this is exposed. Until this is exposed and is put an end to.
Well, that's right. I mean, the real fact of the matter is we have people who are treasonous in government. They're working against us. And more people have been killed by their own governments than all the wars put together. They're lethal. They're very, very dangerous. And that's the problem. And Keir Starmer, he looks as if he's had a brain transplant that's rejected him, sort of.
Yeah.
We can rebuild him. That was the Mark 1, which I made a failure of. But anyway, should we have a sort of change it? Now, you have a pet subject. What could that be, Ben? I wonder what that subject could be. Could your book be a slight clue?
Oh, of course, yes. It's obvious, like the UFO situation. Yeah.
Yes.
This is very interesting at the moment. It's very interesting indeed right now. It's really astonishing what's happening with all the UFOs.
That's what I say to politicians when they knock on my door. UFO. Sorry.
UFO. Yeah. I say that to myself as well. There's lots of videos of people saying that, basically. Yes. Good one. Yeah.
But they're called UAEs, is it, or something?
UAP is the new
UAP.
word.
Sorry, UAE. That's United Arab Emirates or something, isn't it? No, is it UAP? So what is a UA? Is it UAP?
Unidentified anomalous phenomena, which is basically pretty much the same thing. It's just
UFO.
Like the thing is that what they don't want to talk about in government. They don't want to talk about UFOs because the term UFO, which is, you can see here, is actually, it's a magazine I actually write for, UFO Truth Magazine.
Oh, right, okay.
It's another plug.
Is it on? It's online, isn't it?
Yeah, you can order it for a small fee. Yeah, it's quite cheap.
Oh, but isn't that ex-police officer runs it?
Gary Hasselstein, yes, it is.
Yeah. That's it. Yes, that's it.
They don't want to say UFO because the UFO is associated with the likes of me and the lunatic fringe. Now, the thing is, what's ironic about this, so UAP is tending to replace it. What I find ironic is the term UFO itself only appeared in the Robertson panel in 1952. And it was introduced to replace flying saucer for the very same reason. So I think it's up to us to maybe culturally appropriate UAP, so they'll have to think of something new. Because we loonies culturally appropriated UFO, didn't we?
Well, as unidentified flying object, it's a bit like shell shock. Well, now that's a very simple term, shell shock. It's post-traumatic stress disorder. What's wrong with bleeding shell shock? I mean, it sums it up easy. They're making things complicated, aren't they? Why should they complicate words?
Yeah, as George Orwell explained in 1984, the words you use for things, the language you use to explain things is very, very important because it's how you change the way people think and therefore behave. So, and in this case, I do think it's just they're trying to avoid embarrassment with not being associated with the sort of the people, those people in Wellingtons and tinfoil hats standing on hills and pointing cameras at the sky. No offense, Winkeech. So yeah, he's got his. Oh dear.
Okay, here we go then. So I've got my tinfoil hat on. So I've got it all special. So there we are. Tinfoil
very
hat.
stylish, yeah.
So we can carry on. It gets bleed not under this tinfoil hat, but the fact of the matter is that with unidentified flying objects, I mean, chemtrails. Now, I was talking to a gentleman on the podcast. When was it? A couple of shows back. He was saying that we can't have chemtrails because wouldn't be enough chemicals to load on board the planes. So they must be doing something to create these lines across the sky. Because this morning it was like a bloody alphabet soup outside of the sky. They've been going up buggery today. Now, could UFOs be something to do with it?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think so because the chemtrails actually come from very obviously human aircraft. Now, when someone says, for example, there's no chemicals, they couldn't get the chemicals into there's not enough chemicals. Well, there is, if you mix it in with fuel, and indeed there are sophisticated substances involving nanotechnology that have been found in the exhaust from aircraft, indicating this was actually put into the fuel. Because I hear all the time, there's even a guy called Ralph Ellis, who's like an airline pilot, who dismisses all this because he says, I assure you, there are no strange tanks aboard my aircraft when I'm flying, and I don't go pressing buttons to release the chemicals. And believe me, if any of us were doing that, we would all know about it, So it's actually mixed in with the fuel, so the pilots wouldn't even know it was happening. Yeah, the pilots wouldn't even know it was happening. They wouldn't even know it was there because it's mixed in with the fuel long before it gets to the aviation fuel depots, and so. But
today there was a line, and you could actually see the whatever it was coming off of the line.
Yeah,
it's everywhere, and we had that sort of white haze.
Yeah, they last for hours. I mean, this is not condensation. It's something else. There's something else going on with these aircraft. People like Sophia Smallstorm and Cliff Carnicom have been studying this. They've actually gathered some of the residue which seems to gather during very, very powerful, very considerable attacks. And you literally have like strange objects in it, which strangely resemble exactly what comes out of people's skin who have Morgellons disease, where they have these skin lesions and strange objects. There's sometimes little worm-like things, sometimes little bits of glass. Small mechanical devices seem to exude from this substance, from the lesions of their skin. So it's strange that, yeah. Oh, someone says here.
Yeah, he's having a laugh, I think.
Actually, very good.
But there is something. I mean,
Thanks,
for
thanks,
example,
actually.
in the Edwardian times, there was tales of unidentified flying airships because that's the technology that they had then. They could only think of airships. And then in World War II, you had these Foo Fighters, which was very, very strange, which I haven't come to the answer with. Although I did see a talk with the fourth Goon, what was his name now? Michael Bentine. And he said that when they improved the oxygen masks on aircraft, the sightings of Foo Fighters dropped quite phenomenally, but there were still sightings because he reckons that sometimes they were hallucinating.
Well, I've got a lot of respect for Michael Bentine because he was very open-minded. He was like a psychical researcher as well as a great comedian.
Yes.
With the Goon Show. The fact is that what he's referring to here is not actually Foo Fighters; it is Gremlins. Gremlins. What happened was in the early days of aviation, pilots would report all kinds of strange creatures. Sometimes they'd be crawling on the outside of the aircraft trying to get in. It's very well demonstrated in the Twilight Zone episode.
That's right. Yes.
Mystery at 10,000 feet with William Shatner pre Star Trek. He was in this episode.
Was that before he started his underwear factory? Because he started underwear. Yes, he started. It was a failure. It was panties for ladies. He called it Shatner panties.
Yeah, so you see these in the early days of aviation, and now people often say, "Well, what were they?" And pilots, because they seem quite realistic. Mm-hmm. It's then when you find out that when aircraft were invented with pressurized cabins, the phenomenon goes away. So it means that this was actually caused by hypoxia. I mean, whether these things exist or not in a parallel universe, we can only see them under certain states of states of consciousness, which is the case with some of these strange, what some people call hallucinations, or they were literally just a phantasm invented by the brain, which is suffering from hypoxia. We know that people who climb high mountains are the same. George Mallory, one of the early explorers of the Himalayas, tried to climb a couple of tall mountains, including Everest. He used to climb up there, and he said there was another climber with him, even though he was climbing solo. And he'd sit down, they'd sit down, take a break, and they'd have conversations. So it's altitude causes this problem. Low oxygen levels in the brain. When you have pressurized cabins in the aircraft, this goes away. And this is what Michael Bentine was talking about. How Foo Fighters are very, very different. They have been filmed and they have been recorded. They've been recorded. And there is some like cine film of Foo Fighters, and the descriptions are exactly like what we call UFOs seen in the modern age. This includes people who see UFOs from ground level, which you can't explain that as a hypoxic brain, and all the other evidence that you associate that comes on with the presence of UFOs was spotted in World War II. They just gave it a different name. They called them Foo Fighters, but they're referring to exactly the same phenomenon. And which is another reason why this has to be objectively real. It has to be.
Because these Foo Fighters would follow them on a bombing raid. But I've often wondered whether UFOs could be future generations in time machines coming back and watching us.
Well, that seems unlikely because the problem with travelling back in time is that you end up with things like causality paradoxes and things like that. And also the time-space cones, they cannot intersect. We know it is possible to time travel if you're going from the present into the future. You just go very, very fast indeed, and according to Einstein's theory of special relativity, your time will run faster. Getting back in time is a different matter. What you can do, which may be what we're experiencing, but at least some of this phenomenon, is that you could be dealing with a parallel universe of some kind, which is very similar to a possible future for planet Earth. And that the denizens of that particular parallel universe are actually visiting us. In which case, this would be a very, very accurate simulation of what real-time travel would be like. Yeah. So that, I think, is a possibility that I'm open to.
What is your view? I mean, the thing is, there is definitely, I've seen a couple of unidentified, I do not know what, in the sky. I witnessed a spectacle that thousands of people witnessed, and that was lights in the sky. This is when I was very young, shooting across the sky, all different. And this was in the evening, a summer's evening, and they said, was it an American aircraft refueling? Bullshit. And the other one was, it was searchlights. Bullshit. Because my parents witnessed it. They went through the war, World War II, and they knew what searchlights looked like. And they saw it. And these lights would stay there, and suddenly they shoot. A split second. Then they could stop, and then go up and stop. And that was witnessed by absolutely thousands of people.
When the skeptic explanations are getting far more insane than anything we could come up with. And the fact that they are so desperately proposing these ridiculous possibilities indicates to me that they have like a kind of an ideological commitment to these things not being true. They're uncomfortable with the fact these things are real. So yeah, I don't buy it for a second. I mean, it's at some level they must realise that what they're saying is ridiculous and absurd, and that they can't possibly. No one's going to take them seriously.
Now, EXO's come up with something very interesting. Now, EXO, he said, Foo Fighters also terminated the engines of Lancaster bombers and other fighter planes. So that says they are not a result of delusion.
That's interesting, EXO. Is that David?
David,
yeah. Are you David?
Oh, it's David. It is David.
Hey, David.
Yeah.
I thought it might be. I thought that's your name here. Yeah, that's your name here on.
David, that's an interesting. I've never heard of that before.
Well,
I'd be interested to know more.
I have. I mean, this happens many, many times with all kinds of machinery. That the presence of these objects causes, for example, mobile phones to switch off and car engines to conk out. The electrics in the car won't even go. You can't even switch the headlights on. The battery seems to not to work. Things like that. So again, if this is happening, if this happens to aircraft, obviously it's very dangerous. If it's an aircraft in flight, then the engine failing is, of course, a possibility. This could cause the plane to crash. Now, that it's unlikely. I can't imagine the Royal Air Force pilots just making this stuff up. You know, it's they wouldn't just make this stuff up.
When I drink Guinness, I become a poo fighter. Yes, there we go. I like that one. Now, it's just think of the Close Encounters film scene at the rail crossing. Yes,
this is early in the film with Roy Neary, the main character. He's an electrician, and he's really spooky scene where his car just fails, everything's like that. Just before he has his first encounter, it's incredible.
I like that one where he sees the headlights, the car behind. He beckons him along, and the car just overtakes. And another headlights come along, and he beckons it over. And suddenly he thinks it's another car, and the headlights go up and over.
Yeah, they look the same, and I thought, that's lovely. That's wonderful for the viewer.
Bloody well done, because you're sitting there, and but I think that I'm wondering about parallel universes, whether they can flip in between our sight of consciousness. Because when you look at dogs can see things that we can't see. Because let's face it, we are dumb and blind, basically, compared with other animals. They can see lots of things that we can't. And I just wondered whether they're all around us, but we're just too dumb to see it. We just can't.
Well, so you take a dog into a haunted house, sometimes they'll bark at things apparently in thin air. And it's pretty clear and they're looking at you, think, what are you doing? You're just barking at something that's just... They're obviously seeing something that we can't. You know, and so, absolutely. I think having a dog and cats will sometimes hiss at things, and again, for the same reason.
Devil's Tower, Wyoming is a blind for Mount Shasta's, California. I mean, is there must be some pretty hot zones in this country for UFO spottings.
Devil's Tower, it's an amazing landmark, actually, because it's like a very, very prominent hill. It's like a big stone mountain that sticks out the ground. It's actually the remains of an ancient volcano. And it was crucial. It was the site of the dramatic final scene in Close Encounters, where the aliens actually land. Yeah, that incredible scene that's unforgettable. But Mount Shasta it's another place, isn't it? Because that's where the East Ranch is. James Gilliland. You can actually go there. I've not actually done this myself, but you can go there and stay there. And every night you go sky watching, and apparently it's a very, very incredible source of seeing strange things in the sky. Yeah.
That's very strange. But the thing is, there are some hotspots, and one of the hotspots, apparently, if I was told, is in North London near the reservoirs, northeast London rather, near Chingford. And apparently they've been seen going into the reservoirs and coming out of the reservoirs and hovering above the reservoirs. That was in the 1980s, I believe. But I know that Stonybridge, I think in Scotland, was a hot spot.
Bonnybridge.
And that place and all. Yeah. Sorry. And where my sister lived in Royston, she was always seeing strange things in the sky. Because Royston is the last hilly bit of Hertfordshire before it goes to Cambridgeshire. And across the fens of Cambridgeshire, she saw several unidentified flying objects when she lived there.
It's interesting that this phenomenon often appears in what they call flaps, which is certain concentrations of incidents in over a certain period of time in a certain area, what you call hotspots. Now, these hotspots might not be there all the time. So, for example, in the 80s, that the northeast London reservoirs might have been like a gathering place. Indeed, large areas of still water just seem to attract these things. It may not be now. It may well have been at the time. So, for example, in Bonnybridge, I don't think it's the activities there anymore in Bonnybridge. But during the 90s, it was very, very a major phenomenon. Right. So much so that a local man was elected to the council because of Billy Buchanan. He was elected to the council because the local people were so concerned about what was going on in the sky.
What about alien abductions? I mean, is that as widespread as they want us to believe?
More so.
People being abducted by aliens, and I mean, I thought I was going to be abducted whilst I was in Tesco's the other week, but wasn't it as a frozen pea promotion? But
oh dear.
But no, I mean, the thing is that no, I'm joking. But the fact is that there are a lot of serious people that's been abducted, but there's quite a few cranks as well that I don't think have been abducted. Who are making dosh on saying that they have.
Well, I mean, there's a few. I mean, as far as making dosh goes, I mean, there's this. If you want to fool people, there's much easier ways to do it. For example, set up a dodgy double glazing company or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I don't believe every single person who talks about this sort of thing. But there's absolutely no doubt about it that people are experiencing what you might call alien abductions. This has been going on for a long time. I mean, the most famous one and the earliest is that's been publicised is Betty and Barney Hill. This was they were just do some middle-aged couple driving late at night.
1964.
1961. 1961.
61 was it? Oh, sorry,
yeah.
61.
Sorry, I'm such an anorak. I remember these things. And they later reported their incidents, and it became it kind of like popularised the idea. But this goes back much further than that. I mean, you mentioned how there were old names for UFOs, airships, Foo Fighters, etc., going back through history. Alien abduction has exactly the same thing. The phenomenon actually was present in the past, and before the idea of spaceships and other planets were popularized, which is basically in 1940s sci-fi, people used other metaphors, and they called it being spirited away by the fairies, being abducted by trolls and goblins and things like that. But the descriptions are exactly the same. The missing time, the medical examinations, they put you into a strange state of mind, things like that, and indeed the reproductive element as well, which is sometimes present in modern-day alien abduction. So yeah, it's something that's always been with us. It's likely that we were experiencing this back in prehistoric times.
Could the Bible be an because I know Richard D. Hall, he did a show once where he read extracts from the Bible. It'd be nice to have Patrick on, would he? Because he's very up on the Bible. He's Catholic, and he was saying that were people the Bible explaining the UFO phenomena, and so And Mark Mantis 41 says, "Thanks again for putting it in capitals. It really is a help. Are they alien craft or prototype military aircraft?"
I think more likely the former. I mean, there are such things as prototype military aircraft in the sky. People, and indeed plane spotters, have been seeing strange things in the sky as well, which are clearly, even though they're unknown and therefore technically UFOs, they're likely to have a human origin. So, for example, they appear to fly through. They fly via aerofoil action. They have an engine, things like that. But indeed, there are. This usually happens over like secluded areas like Area 51, where there's not many people are going to see them when they take off and land. But some people, sometimes their government are unlucky and people do spot them. Yeah, definitely.
And Mike has gone on, and again, thank you so much for putting it in capitals. It certainly helps. Could the abductions be a cover for government human experiments?
No, because my labs, that is military abductions, firstly, they're fundamentally different in nature. Secondly, the experience itself predates by, millennia the time when the government does abduct people. Indeed, the government does abduct people against their will. The government carries out non-consensual human experiments on people of all kinds, both psychological and physical. There's targeted individuals are a real thing, I believe, but what they report is distinctly different. I know Stephen Greer has this strange idea that, alien abductions, they are actually my labs, but the guys who take it, the guys who from government agencies who kidnap you, they put on alien costumes to make themselves look like aliens. So then if you report your encounter, no one will believe you because they'll just think you're crazy because you're seeing aliens. But of course, that kind of thing could backfire very easily to the point where it really wouldn't be a viable cover story. Therefore, I disagree with Greer, and I think what we're dealing with people who say that, we're dealing with an elaborate double bluff in that situation.
Now, Envro, Paul, it's Anorak. What do you think the moon is? It's made of cheese.
The moon,
I've seen that one. Was it Wallace and Gromit? Made of cheese.
The moon has these little furry, like knitted creatures made of wool called clangers. I'm only kidding.
That's it.
The moon is. It's funny enough. It's the nearest heavenly object to the Earth. Yet it is one of the most mysterious of them all. It is clearly a satellite of the Earth, but there's all kinds of anomalies with the moon. For example, it appears to be very light for its size, even though its geology is very similar to that of the Earth. There's even ideas that it was created from an impact between two planets in the past, which created the moon in the distant past on Earth. But the fact it's too light, as you say, it could be that it has a lot of internal cavities. So that's why it's lighter than it should be. Its density is very low compared to the Earth. There's large internal cavities, yeah. And what's in those, I wonder? What's in those? Well, the moon is very regular. It's a lot of regularity. Its orbit is one of the least eccentric of all the orbits. It's almost a perfect circle. It seems to also be positioned very conveniently it appears on the celestial sphere exactly the same size as the Sun does from a relative perspective, which means it causes this amazing effective perspective, which must be extremely rare in the universe, which is the total solar eclipse. No other planet in our solar system gets that. They get transits, but it's very extremely rare. We're very lucky to have that.
Apparently, according to David Icke, the Zulu, and again, I don't want to misquote him, so I do apologise in advance if I have, but I think his friend who passed away, who was a Zulu, the Zulus have this. That's right. They have this thing that the moon was towed there. It's actually brought there, and there's lots of ancient sort of folklore legends that the moon was actually dragged there. But Asperger's Fudge has got a very interesting question here, and it's one I would like to ask as well. Do you think ETs and demons are the same thing?
Well, in my view, no. ETs are distinctly different. That being said, though, I mean, I believe that demons exist as well, and indeed angels. They are not the same thing. But it's possible that there's some overlap in terms of the experience, which may lead people to confuse the two.
Well, I'm wondering, I mean, I'm writing a book at the moment about demonic possession, which I experienced in my family, and where a person flips from one personality to another instantly. Yeah. And it could be emotions or anything. They could be deeply tearful, then they're totally non-tearful. Then they're tearful again, then non-tearful. And it would be impossible for a good actor or actress to do that. So, yes. And it is quite something, unless you've experienced it, it's horrendous. But the thing is, there is quite a few people that believe that there is a muddied area of demons and UFOs and that type of thing.
Well, the thing about what you described is actually, I think it's one of the first things we discussed when I interviewed you for my show. We went into this in detail. That that people themselves can have some kind of can change internally through from their etheric body, or something gets taken over, walk-ins, things like that. Now it's many people say that aliens can do that as well. I mean, there's so there is this crossover. Yeah, I believe though there are two separate phenomena. In terms, there are certain demons that don't fit in any way, and angels indeed that don't fit in any way with the UFO phenomena, and vice versa. But it could be that there is an element of this phenomenon, and again, we may be talking about more than one thing that we've generically categorized together, which does have features of both. Yeah.
And our Blu-ray has said the moon brought in by the archons. Archons.
Well, so, if somebody did it deliberately and put the moon there deliberately, I mean, they couldn't do a better job, could they? It's just, but like I say,
a pretty good job, yeah.
Circular orbit. One side always faces the Earth, so it's not actually orbiting at all relative to the Earth. And as I said earlier, it's you get this amazing, strange effect that it's this perspective effect, which we call a total eclipse of the sun. I mean, could that happen by accident? Well, anything could happen by accident, couldn't it? Because the skeptics won't declare a ceiling on their coincidence theory. But it seems to go against common sense to suggest that just happened accidentally.
Well, I've actually seen the moon eclipse, and that's quite something. That's at night. And I woke up and looked out the window, and you can actually see like the shadow of the Earth going across the moon.
It's incredible, yeah.
And that is quite amazing.
Yeah, and the moon looks red at first because it's the sunlight shining on it is being filtered by the Earth's atmosphere. So you get like it is at sunset and sunrise. It's amazing.
Well, I didn't. I'll be straight with you. I do not believe that any person has ever stepped foot on the moon at all. I don't believe they.
Right. I disagree. I think they probably have, although using different methods and at different times than history tells us. Definitely. I'm going to have to go in a few minutes, Chris, so I'm going to have to go up past.
I fully understand. Well, very quickly,
yeah.
If you could, mate, because Kingston Whitler, hello, mate. Hi, Ben. Having enjoyed your videos on Peasmore, do you know of others in England, Wales, or Scotland? Thanks.
Oh, well, there are rumours of deep underground military bases in all kinds of places. Now, again, I went. I'm glad you enjoyed the Peasmore videos. Thanks. I specifically went there looking for evidence of the location of this base. I couldn't find any. I mean, there's some strange things at the Harwell Laboratory, but there are many other places where there appears to be secret facilities. Indeed, some of them used to be secret have now been revealed, such as the Kelvedon nuclear bomb shelter. That was actually in the Cold War. That was strictly secret. Now it's revealed. Right. In fact, you can go visit it. It's a tourist attraction. I'm going to have to take a trip down there one day.
There's a sign. Is that the one in Essex?
Yeah, and there's also many.
The sign said secret H-bomb shelter. I thought, well, how can it be bleeding secret? There's a signpost to it.
Well, it was secret. It's not anymore. Yeah. There's many actually there's many in the area around Bath and Bristol. That area. There's many in that area. And some of them, according to Richard Sauder, who studied this, there are certain signs you've got to look for, like strange structures with heat haze around them. They look like normal houses, but they're actually extraction, because that's what the heat is coming out to get the heat out of the base from underground. Because it's an underground place, it's difficult to keep cool. Small buildings with very large car parks indicates that there's probably something underground as well. Area 51 fits into this because we know from the number of people who go in and out there every day on the Janet planes that they can't possibly, there wouldn't be room for them in the surface buildings. There must be something underground. So look for, I mean, I don't know the specific answer, but look for those signs, Sauder's laws they're called, which could indicate the presence of an underground facility that has not been formally acknowledged.
There's one near me, I think, near where I live. And what is that? This is Mike Mantis. I'm sorry, I won't keep you too long. This is the last question, I think. What is that old painting? This is Mike Mantis asking this, with a UFO in it. There is one.
There are several, actually. Yeah. Are you talking about the one? What's it called? I'll just get the details for you. Yeah. I don't know. I don't with UFO. In the background, it is. This could be the one you're talking about here, which is. It's the mystery of the Madonna and the UFO. It is. It's actually in the Palazzo Velleccio in Florence. It's called the Madonna with St. John, and it is created by Domenico Gelando, an Italian. And you to describe it, you probably see it is the one you're talking about. It shows literally the Mary with St. John and Jesus. And in the background, funny if you see in the background, that background is based on like an Italian coast, and you see what looks like a flying saucer in the sky. Not only that, but there's a man standing nearby. He appears to have a telescope in his hand, and he's watching it. And there's a little dog sitting beside him, looking up at this strange object. So that could be the one you're thinking about. I see. This was painted a long time ago. Like I said, it was painted in the 1400s, and there are no real records from the artist or the artistic school that created it to explain what it actually means. But it's very interesting, isn't it? Yeah. There are many other examples of that very, very thing, all the way from like modern paintings, all the way up to like ancient cave art, thousands of years old. Yeah, very, very interesting stuff. Yeah,
as long as it's not the fallen Madonna with the big boobies, that will be all right. Sorry.
Hello. Oh, yeah, I'm going to have to go. I'm sorry, but I've had a really
fully
good time.
Understand. I know on that gag. Well, you're always welcome on, Ben. Always. Thank you very much. I'm going to carry on till 10 o'clock. So,
nice one, mate. Nice one.
Welcome on the show. You're part of the team, so anytime. And I'm updating the guest list. So if I pop that out, I'm open to that in the next couple of days. And we're going to get some exciting and guests on in the future. And yes, so it's all looking good. And thanks, mate, for coming on. It's much appreciated.
Well, Chris, thank you for having me once again. Really appreciate being on the show. Obviously, I'll share this around with everyone I know.
Oh, it's very kind of you.
And thank you to everyone. Thank you to everyone who's been listening, especially the people who've been putting comments, which have been very interesting indeed. So it's really, really good that you did that. Thank you so much for taking the time to give me your feedback. It's much appreciated.
That's great. You're always welcome. You're a regular.
Take care, guys. Night.
Good night, mate. Good night. Bye. Right. Now, I'm going to carry on till 10 o'clock because that's when we go off of Food for Thought Radio. And what I'm going to say is I think there's an underground base near where I live. Now, I live sort of 2/3 up a hill. And for anybody that knows Cheshunt, I live on the border of Cheshunt. I was actually, when I moved here, it's called Goff's Oak, and they moved the border overnight. So my address was originally called Goff's Oak. I went to bed on Friday, it was Goff's Oak, and then when I woke up on a Monday, it was Cheshunt. So there we go. But if anybody knows Hammond Street Road, they go up to the top of Hammond Street Road, and there's what looks like reservoirs or embankments up there. And it's got it did have lots of aerials there. And it says keep out, and it was to do with water. I think it's Thames Water or something like that. Well, very strangely, there was often, and this was during the Cold War, military vehicles and military officials around there. And there's a door that's locked there. So what would military vehicles be doing, like, around the top of Hammond Street in Cheshunt? So that's quite interesting. And we've now been joined by a guest. It's Paul or Anorak. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, our Transport Minister for Fockham. And do you know of any secret places where you are in Telford or Salop? Because but I might be dragged off. You never know. Under the secret, I might not be here because they might drag me off tomorrow morning. You've mentioned our secret out in Cheshunt. So sorry, mate. Carry on.
See, not necessarily underground bits and pieces, but I do often wonder why they call drains manholes. Makes you think.
Yes.
I do a lot of thinking about this with regards to. Well, obviously we know Starbucks manholes, but not the same type we're talking about here.
Yes, I have a joke here, but as we are going out to the American audience, we better not. No, I'll refrain from that. But by the way, thanks for coming in, mate. It's much appreciated. Thank you.
But, I thought I'd give you half hour, an hour or so, however long you want.
Well, that's very kind of you. Thank you very much. And but hello. We've got another guest. It's Paul English.
Hello, Paul.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, I just thought we ought to add to the polls. Now we've got 2. We're doing okay. Yes.
It could be appalling. Oh, hang on. I'm echoing. Has somebody got their we got their mic open or something like that?
It's stopped now, hasn't it?
It's stopped now.
Me.
No. But next week I'm going to be in.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Note from parents, please. Next week we're going to be in a new studio, aren't we? I'm not moving house, no, but we're in a new studio, a new Rumble studio.
I think so. Next week, yeah. Should fingers crossed. Maybe a bit more things to look at, but yeah, hopefully, and cut down on the workload because, of course, we're sweating over hot computers here all day long, and it's very, very boring. Yeah,
I know.
Absolutely.
As my uncle used to say, I've been sweating over a hot woman all morning. Sorry.
Does that mean we're saying goodbye to Jeremy Irons and Fred the Plant?
No. We still have Jeremy Irons and Fred the Plant. He's looking well, isn't he, old Fred the Plant? Look at him.
He is.
He looks very good.
And that's on banana water, see? Because I'm a tight-fisted git and I don't buy these sort of plant things, to make the plants grow better. So what I do, I put some banana peel in some water, rainwater for about a week, then get the banana peel out and then water my plants with it.
Can I ask you a question, Eric?
Certainly.
Was it decided upon that the moon was made out of cheese or not? I was listening to that last bit. Cheese or not?
It's still undecided whether it was Gouda or whether it was cheddar, the cheese that it was,
Yeah, well, if it's white Stilton, count me in. I'd be looking at getting a rocket to get up there and go some cheese mining. But
that'd be nice, wouldn't it? But
it could be blue Stilton because that would explain the craters that we can see. Although I still stand by the fact that I think it's local to us. I don't think.
Really?
I don't think it's out there.
We might not be.
Do you remember Wallace and Gromit?
Space.
Oh, we're joined. We're absolutely joined by words. We've got the whole team in tonight.
Well, I heard you were solo. I wanted to join in, but then
times.
Everybody crowded in.
Chris, are you become a statue?
I beg your pardon?
What's that? What's going on?
What's going on?
Very confusing.
Yes.
I think Paul's got a choppy connection.
Yeah, you all right, mate?
Me?
Are you all right, Paul? No, I think Minister Anorak. I think you're all right, Anorak. All right, mate?
Are you being a bit choppy, Anorak? What's going on? Chop.
I think someone's pulled your bleeding plug out.
I'll reboot.
Okay.
Maybe he's buffering. He could be buffering.
You're going to reboot.
Of course, is a filthy habit.
That's right.
But he could be.
I'll reboot.
Get your boots on again.
I'm very interested to know here, Eric, that DJ B2 is in support of Stilton. Of course, Blue Stilton is what everybody knows.
That's right.
Blue Stilton. And I'm not. I don't dislike Blue Stilton. It's okay. But White Stilton, which is rare as White Stilton, very difficult to get hold of, is the Rolls Royce of cheeses for me. It's just incredibly good. And it's very difficult. And it costs a bomb as well because they don't make as much. They turn it all blue. So I think, anyway, we probably need a big cheese mart. We need to get the cheese sorted out.
Go to France. I went to Calais once and it was a nice hot summer's day and you could smell the cheese shop from about a couple of 100 yards away.
The French they used to have over 1,000 different cheeses, the French, although we've got several hundred over here. They're very good, aren't they? And,
what's Wensleydale? Yeah. What's Wensleydale? Cheese?
I thought you were referring to me, Mr. Wensleydale. That's my name.
It's a modern rip-off, isn't it?
Sorry.
I think it's a modern one.
No, it's nice. No, Wensleydale's pretty cool. It's sort of crumbly a bit, and it's white, and it's a good cheese. Yeah, we like Wensleydale. It's quite good. It sounds good, doesn't it? It's got a great name.
The Wallace and Gromit, where they go to the moon, and they say it tasted like Wensleydale. So that's why.
Also, there's that other one later on, isn't it? The one with the woman that and he offers her some cheese. Cheese? Oh no, I can't stand the stuff. And he looks at it and says, "What? Not even Wensleydale? No." His world just comes crashing round his ears. I mean, what are you supposed to do with somebody that doesn't like cheese? I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Hatchie, you've got a fan there. He's joined your fan club, I think. I love Mr. English. He's a proper good one. Same as John Hamer. Yes.
Sort of.
Now, he's got a question for you for Mr. English. Question. Thanks for putting it in capitals. Any update on John Irwin?
At the moment, no. Although we were talking about him today, weren't we? Earlier in the day,
yes.
Eric, when I had a chat with you.
That's a coincidence, isn't it?
It is. It's obviously a sign. I've got it down on my to-do list, and I will be following through. I've got good connections into him, so I'm looking to do that. It won't be this week, but I do want to get him on because it's just where the sort of where the conversations head. And we were talking today about how puzzled we are sometimes.
Who is this guy?
How puzzled.
Who's
John.
Dude? Yeah, John.
John's he's
author.
I don't know. Well, whatever you do he's an amazingly interesting individual because he used to be an assassin.
What?
Sorry, I thought you meant John Hamer is an author.
Oh yeah. Which one are you talking about? John Irwin or John Hamer? Is John Hamer an assassin?
John Irwin was an assassin.
Hamer, yeah. Talk to him.
Yeah, John Hamer's maybe an assassin as well. I don't know. Maybe if you call John, you're prone to killing people or something. I don't know. I'm sorry if there's any Johns out there.
I'm prone to killing this bleeding fly that keeps buzzing around me, which keeps flying around. It came in the window today. I can't get rid of the bastard. So I'm going to be a fly assassin. Yeah, he's still flying around, little bastard. There he goes.
Irwin is an assassin. Or was. Yeah. Was.
Yeah. I'm sure he still could put his hand to good use if you need
always an assassin, eh?
I think so. Right. But it's the background to John is that it's his training that's the extraordinary part of his life, really, the training and what he was taught in training. Because it's nothing to do with dispatching people. It's to do with what life is and how it got to the planet. All sorts of... It's an amazing story. It really is. And... it's like a boy's own yarn, but on super steroids. It's like off the charts. It's the sort of thing that you would never read in a boy's adventure story because it so sort of stretches the mind about his training. Anyway, I'd like to get him on. It's a couple of years since I had a good chat with him. Actually, I spoke to him last Christmas, not this one, the one previously, just for about 5 or 10 minutes. I've got it down. Thank you for the nudge. I sometimes need a bit of a kick. It's a busy day. And I don't know about you, Eric, but by the end of the day, my to-do list is always longer than it started off with. It's a bit sort of depressing at times.
Well, that's right. Oh, by the way, I'd like to say thank you to my neighbour, Bob, who gave me a push bike today. So there we go. He gave me his bike. So thanks, Bob. If you're listening in, mate, it's much appreciated.
What kind of bike?
It's a mountain bike. And, it's quite a good one. He got it from a charity shop and he's given up cycling now. He's in his 80s. And I think he prefers cars and things.
How many bikes do you have now?
5. He's now known as Eric 5 Bikes.
No, Eric 8 Bikes. Seriously.
8?
Yeah. 8 bikes.
So
how many legs have you got?
I got to see a psychiatrist about it next week. I have this thing about bikes. I don't know. Well, no, and most of them have been given to me.
Week in a spare.
8.
Yeah, I mean,
you see, 2 or 3 is okay, and then 4's getting odd, right? 5's seriously odd. 8's really, you need to call someone up, Eric. 8.
Well, 7.5 really, because one's a folding bike, so that's 7.5 really. But no, actually, they've been given to me. I've only bought 2 bikes in my life. Seriously, I've only bought 2 bikes. The rest of them were given to me.
Have you misunderstood the term? Have you misunderstood the term recycle?
Well, I've only got 1 bum and 2 legs, you see, but it's quite fun. But yeah, and they all live.
That one. That's a good one.
They all live in a bike shed, so there we are. So they're all nicely tucked up and warm now in the bike shed. But no, it's funny. People he's given me 2 bikes. He's had 2, so he's had 2. My neighbour gave me 1 bike. That was it. And then 1 bike. And then I've had other people give me bikes. I don't know quite what it is about bigger bikes. I think there's a man that needs a bike.
There's a man that actually uses bikes. So let's give it to him.
Yes.
Sounds
there we are.
Sounds like a really good neighbour. Sorry.
Well, as I say, drivers they always tell me I've got 2 wheels on my bike. They say, "Look, it's got 2 wheels on your bike," and they call me Richard Head. Oi, Richard Head. I don't know quite why. Look at that.
You've still got 2. You've still got 2 wheels on your bike. Nice.
Yes, but so there we are. But I quite like cycling. But no, it's a bleeding good. It is this bike. You know,
I have to say, I wouldn't have had you down as somebody who would ride a a folding bike, though, usually it's someone who's got a massive beard. That's his stereotype.
That's right. You got to have leather pads on your jumper like this, and you sight like. But I tell you something, it's all right. But the problem is you've got 6 gears on this folding bike, but they're too sod all. You just keep it the same gear all the time. But I fold it up and shove it in the back of my car. And because I'm a tight-fisted git, you see, I don't pay for parking. I park outside of town and cycle in.
Well, is it not just as easy just to cycle from home to where you're going then?
Well, no, not if the place is a long way away. If it's about 40 miles away, I'm not going to bleed and cycle 40 miles, am I?
No dedication. You got 8 bikes. You could park one every like 4 or 5 miles.
I get a bit attached to them, though. You know, they're like friends. You know, a bit weird. But there was it. What was it? Alice Gorgeous. He's got a fetish for pedaling. Laugh out loud. 8 bikes. That's great. Yeah. Well, a bit of a laugh, isn't it? You know. I can house them, so I'm quite happy. But no, I think
maybe people think you're running a sort of a retirement home for old bikes or something, a bit like cat ladies.
Start a bike.
Yeah, some ladies have a lot of cats, and you just have a lot of bikes. It's a more manly sort of approach.
Oh, I need to see a psychiatrist.
Psychiatrist, yeah.
He's the bike man.
They're all getting very witty out there, aren't they? It's all getting
they're all
a bit
bleeding
witty.
antiques. All my bikes are old. The oldest one I got was made in 1952, I think it was, and it's a collector's piece now. Both my cars are geriatric. It's a Triumph, but it was made by Raleigh, and it's labelled Triumph, and that's rare. And it's got drop handlebars and a Sturmey Ultra gear on it, and that is even rarer. And apparently, it is a collector's piece.
Do you know who made the very first bicycle?
Dunlop, was it?
It was the Rover company.
Really?
Who are also responsible for the Land Rover, them. And the name has stuck so strongly, I think it's Poland, it could be, where they don't call them bicycles, they call them Rovers.
Really?
How about that? Yep.
That's an interesting link, though, because quite often you'd see people who own Rovers actually pushing them, so that's a bit of a coincidence, isn't it? You push a bike.
Would have done with my one. I used to have a Rover 2000, bleeding crap it was. I mean, it would sail along the motorway all day, doing about sort of 50 to 70, but it had twin carbs, and you could almost hear it sucking the fuel up. So did about 19 to the gallon, something like that.
Just for you, in this psychiatrist you need to go and see, he's at the end of the Northern Line, so you'll need to be in a tube.
Oh.
Is Paul buffering again? Something's going on. It's all getting a bit.
It's
all getting a bit out of hand, isn't it? This is look. It's obviously there's a wave. There's a whole cycle of jokes coming through now all about bicycles.
I know.
It's ridiculous.
The thing is, all the machinery I've got for travelling is geriatric. My Toyota is a 1989. And that's rare. There's only a couple left. It's a Toyota Carina, not Corolla, Carina, and my smart car is a 2002. So everything I got is bleed geriatric.
Yeah, collectors. You could have collector plates on them.
Now, Alice Gould just says, however Eric manages to get bikes given to him is a mystery. It's as if he's peddling something. Yes. Well, mind you, I did find a wreck of a bike that was dumped, and I did that up as well. So I got a wreck of a bike. I've been given Miles gave me his bike. That's Dr. Miles Fleetwood. He upgraded, so he gave me his old bike. Then I say my neighbour's given me 2 bikes. And maybe the other side's giving me 1 bike. So there we go. That's 5 counted for.
You don't think they're trying to get rid of you, do they? On your bike. Which one? Number 8.
But, by the way, here we are. We've got the bleeding fly again. Here he goes. Come on, you little bastard. I'm going to assassinate you, you sod, But
I was hoping, Eric, that with the fly, you might be able to do what James Coburn did in Our Man Flint, where he took a drinking straw and put a sewing needle in the straw and then blows it like a dart, like a blow dart, and pinned the fly to the wall with the needle. You must learn that trick, and then we'll get it on video. It'd be fantastic. That's the way to kill them.
I worked with a bloke.
Tricky.
We worked in an office once where there's loads of bleeding flies coming around, and you'd be drawing away and seeing bleeding flies landing on your drawing board. And this fella behind me, he got so peed off with it, he had made an elastic band shot, and he got quite a crack shot at it. And he flicked one fly and cut it in half, and it was still alive. And we used to say, well, it's a rugby player, it's a fly half. But this thing was in half. Which is weird.
That was a brilliant fly impersonation visually.
It was like I was there.
Yeah, it was. I just went into it. It's just amazing.
Did you ever see The Fly, the film, the original 50s one? Yes. Where he says, I would like some... No, he should have said, I would like a nice pile of dog shit, please. But he doesn't. He said it's all sort of nice and clean, isn't it?
My mind reels, Eric, at how you managed to bring everything back into the excrementary realm. It's just amazing. It's just unbelievable. It's like it's a gift. It's a special gift.
He keeps on giving and all.
It does.
You haven't seen the Waltham Abbey film yet?
Oh, is it dog shit of the look at this pile.
Well, let's put it this way. You don't walk in a straight line to the Abbey. Unless one foot goes silent. So, no. You think, hello, I didn't know I had a thicker sole on one shoe. But
yeah, so with insects now, I'd wait till the morning and let that fly out, to be honest with you. But I have to say,
we'll let him out. Yeah, I'm not cruel to flies. I'll let him out. Yes.
I have to say that years ago we did it. We were in some office where we hadn't got any windows, but it was infested with flies. There must have been about 30 or 40 of them, and I got every single one of them in an elastic band. Eventually, got them all. Every single one of them.
Really? No, I let poor little sod out. I mean, he came in by accident, but no, I don't really squat flies anymore. I try and even slugs I don't kill. I don't kill anything really. But oh yes, that was the William Goldburn one, wasn't it? I preferred the Jeff Goldblum Bloom fly film.
Bloom. Yes.
Bloom. Yes, that was the one. The famous line was it? Just to the fly. I think you've got your man's undone. Sorry, you left your man undone.
Oh dear. I'm trying to recall why I called in now. But it's gone. It's gone. It's been obliterated in a sea of cycle and fly jokes.
I've got to say, is there a bit of a leak though? Because Paul, you turned up and then the fart joke started.
Yeah, maybe I'm like a litmus test for it or something, or it's like the starting gun and off it goes. I don't know.
Oh, by the way, yes. I trust everybody's got in for the Fockham Hall poll. And do you want a quick update of the poll? See, there's 17. Oh, what? It's gone up. It's gone up. And so far we got here. Let's have a look here. Overpopulation and global warming is both at 29%. And not virus nonsense. So we've got 3 equal pegging. We've got overpopulation, virus nonsense, and global warming. And what's second? We've got an equal second. Oh, hang on. It's changed again. People are bloody hell. There's more votes coming in. It's dropped back. Virus nonsense has gone back to 27. It's global warming extravaganza, 33%. And that's really changed things. And there's a lot of votes on this, and what we got here? Those naughty Russians wanting to bomb our chip shops is 16%. That's dropped back. That has. So remember, Franz, it's a volt. So there we are.
By the way, Chris, who won the vote the last time? Where did Sooty come in the end?
I think Sooty was quite low. I think Sooty was I think it was.
I thought Sooty
Lassie.
won.
Hang on. Let's have a quick look. Hang on. If you bear with me, I'll have a quick look. I'm only guessing, so bear with me a few seconds. Talk amongst yourselves while I find out where it is.
Well, I voted for the overpopulation scare. That kind of covers all of the above.
It's a bit worrying, isn't it? Now, I've got to go back a long way, see if I find it. So we need to know...
Is this a bit like politics, though, in that you shouldn't really reveal who you voted for? Is there a sort of...
Nah, it don't matter.
I like revealing that.
Do you?
Yeah, you
I
like
could tell.
Yeah. You like to reveal yourself, don't you? It's a bleeding long way back. I don't have to do a lot of bleeding posts. Where is it? Oh, hang on a minute. It must be here somewhere. Come on, where is it?
It was Lassie. I know that much. It was Lassie was.
Yeah, I think it was Lassie.
I
can't find it. I think it was Lassie. I can't bleed. Oh, hang on. I'm getting close to it. No, I think I've missed it. Where is it? I can't find it. It's here somewhere. But I think it was. Hang on. Hang on. I think I'm finding it on somebody else's poll. Where is it? It must be here somewhere.
Between Eric and I posting on the Fockham Hall Telegram page, we've done quite a lot since that was.
We certainly have, haven't we? Oh, here it is. Here it is. No, it isn't. No. Hang on. It's about growing vegetables. Oh, bloody hell. Where is it? Come on.
Interesting in the chat, though, at the moment. We've gone from UFOs to Sooty and Sweep. Every subject covered on here, isn't it?
And dog shit.
It's good.
And dog shit, yes. We covered dog shit, yeah.
Oh, yes. We've covered that.
Yes. It's covered my shoe as well. Did I ever tell you?
Yes, you did. But tell us again.
When I worked at Stevenage Borough Council, I was freelance, I hasten to add. I wasn't permanent. Oh, I'm bleeding.
Is that important? Is that pertinent to the story?
Well, not really, no. But
I like it, though. I was freelance, you know. Oh, well, that makes all the difference.
Oh, you shredded dog shit. I was a freelance dog shit shredder. Here it is. Here it is. We got it. I've got it at last. I found it at last. And the winning entrants are Lassie at 18%. And Skippy the Bush Kangaroo at 18%.
I thought so.
And second was Sooty and Basil 40. And I'm very sad to say that Jar of Peter Mandelson's hemorrhoid cream came in at 5%.
So Sooty could still potentially win.
He could, yeah, the poll's still open. You still go and find him and you vote in it. So he could win. You never know. So there we go.
Let's be honest, the ones that are in power now are all puppets, aren't they? And
well,
aren't they? Hand up their arse.
Well, they might like that, especially Keir Starmer. Yeah. But no, actually, I worked for Stevenage Borough Council, you said. I used to park a fair distance from the office because it used to have to pay to park. And as I was walking to work one morning, it's one of these mornings where you're not quite with it. You know what I mean? You'd had a bad night's kip. And the dog had just done a nice juicy pile. Oh, hang on. We're coming to the end of Food for Thought Radio.
We're vibing out.
We're vibing. We're cooling out. We can hear
it. We can hear it. Sorry.
No, I think everybody can hear it out there too.
Can they?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you can flip the switch.
So, yeah, we say goodbye to Food for Thought Radio until it starts up again. It's 24 hour, isn't it now, Paul?
I've got to give you a better song than this. It's not right. It just seems so appropriate.
It was well timed.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's giving the giggles.
Whatever you do. Have a goody bloody good laugh.
What is it about farts? There we go. Good night, Food for Thought Radio.
Wake up your mind, fill up your day. Smart little
Thank you very much. And we're still carrying on Rumble, YouTube, and Facebook, and Holy Land Radio Soapbox, I think we're still on, and Holy Land FM. So there we go. And what was I talking about earlier? Oh, yes. I was walking along, and a dog had just done a juicy pile, and I had some moccasin shoes on, and I trod right in it. He went right over the top of the shoes. See, so I did a quick, leg job on the grass, wiped it off a bit, but it ground into not over the top of the moccasin, but into my sock as well, you see. So I carried on to the office, and there was a place where some pigeons used to roost, and they crap is outside Barclays Bank. So my other foot slid in the pigeon shit. So I go into work. And it was a sort of a January day, and they had the central heating on, of course. So I sat down, picked it up. I could smell dog shit, can you? So I went away, and the stench, it was beginning to waft.
The vision I've got at the moment of your journey there is the one like O.J. Simpson in The Naked Gun, where he's at the dockside, where he puts his hand on the thing and burns it, and so he puts a cake in his face.
So, and just to confirm, Eric, this is when you were freelance, right?
That's right. Yes, it's Stevenage Borough Council. And
have you got any similar stories of when you were properly employed? When you were in full employment, it didn't happen then. So it's only when you go freelance that these sorts of things happen.
You trade in dog shit. And I said that straight because, you see, if I say I work for the local council, people think that I was an establishment type, but I wasn't, because I took the contract because it was a nice bit of dosh. So that's why I took the contract. But anyway, I was going to say, I had to go out. Luckily, it was in Stevenage Town Centre, and I went over to the shoe shop and had to buy a new pair of shoes, a new pair of socks, and I went into the bathroom. Into the toilets, and I had to wash my feet because it had ground. And I had to, the shoes and were almost a write off. My socks were a write off. Put them in the bin. Bloody hell! But no, it certainly ponged. But no, it kept people away. But mind you, it didn't keep the flies away. Mind you, it was winter, so we didn't have flies in. So there we are. That's my little story about dog shit. So, moral of the story is, if you're going for a walk, don't wear moccasin shoes in case you're treading some dog shit. So there we are.
Oh, look where you're going.
Oh, look where you're going, yeah. And of course, when you go freelance, you're treading dog shit. So there we go. So not many people know that. Freelance dog shit.
I'm going to stick to my fully employed status, Eric. I think it's too scary, this freelance stuff.
Yes, it's a bit whiffy. Mind you, people thought it would be, because, I had to see a sales rep that morning. So they go, it's funny, you sort of go, you go up to people, they go, and then checking their shoes. Yes.
The comments about Aunt Sally's brilliant.
What's this? I trod in dog shit barefoot when I had a puppy who kindly left one outside my bedroom door. Was welded in between my toes. Oh,
right.
Dear. Yes. Mind you, a mate of mine who's a bit short-sighted, his cat brought in a trophy for him from the Starling's nest, you see, whilst he was in the shower. So he's showering away, gets out of the shower, goes, puts his foot on something and thinks, that's not the mat. Looks down, he's trod on a dead starling. Yes.
Probably had to get another shower, I suppose.
Do you think animals and birds have a sense of humour as well? Because we were on holiday, when I was very, very young, I was on holiday with Mum and Dad down in St Ives in Cornwall, and somehow a seagull managed to drop an entire triangle of pizza on me dad.
What type of pizza was it? Do you know?
I don't know. I didn't ask the seagull what
pepperoni.
When I was a kid, we were in Cornwall and was at the docks, and this bleeding seagull wouldn't stop. Ow, 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 because we had some chips, or if you're in America, some fries, you see. And my mum said, "Shut up!" And she threw this fry at him, and it went straight down his throat. Perfect aiming it was.
This is good. We've had fly impersonations and now seagulls and chips. It's quite entertaining. This is pretty good, this.
Well, I got the giggles tonight.
I did see somebody get mugged in Eastbourne by a seagull. He was sat in a restaurant or on the tables on the outs by the road, and I could see this seagull circling. This bloke got this cut pasty out where it was. Down came the seagull, took the entire thing away. What the hell? So we didn't take the bloke with him and all. They're right.
Well, when I was a kid, we used to live in a house, terrace house, and the walls were like bleeding paper, so you could hear next door, and the lavatories were sort of one side, and you could hear, and we could hear the son next door go throwing up down the loo. You see, so we found out the reason why, because he liked walnut whips. And this is a true story. And the lady and the elderly chap next door, they looked after a little, I can't say, bleeding poodle, miniature poodle, for their friend. And it was a very dark, had all Victorian furniture. Very Victorian it was. Look, it was very dark in their house. And this poodle had actually done a little sort of deposit under the table. And their son was terribly short-sighted. He had glasses, like bottle tops. And he came in and he looked on, somehow, I don't know why he looked on the table. He saw, oh, great, walnut whip, picked hold out. That's true.
I'm detecting a sort of theme here, Eric, in your tales. I don't know if anybody else has spotted it.
Yes.
Yeah. There seems to be a repeat pattern here with things. Yes. Yeah.
Well, shall we come off the subject of dog poo and farts? And
I don't know where we go from here. Where do you go from here?
We've had UFOs. We had Foo Fighters. Oh, what's happening in the Middle East? There's a big battle going on. Right. Next. And do you think there's going to be a nuclear war? No. But mind you, I haven't eaten a walnut whip since that time, because whenever I see a walnut whip, can you still get them? Can you still get walnut whips? Those still exist?
Yeah, you do. I didn't like the walnuts when I was young, but I preferred them as I got older.
Yeah,
what are they? What's a walnut whip?
Oh, a walnut whip. It looks like a pile of dog poo with a nut on the top. It's chocolate.
It's not exactly
your neighbour thought
correct.
Yes.
It's not exactly correct. That's not an exactly correct description, Patrick.
Well, it's like
it doesn't look like.
Well, I think it does.
Chris's neighbour would say it was.
Oh, dear. Didn't they use that as a tagline to sell more?
It tastes like shit, this walnut whip.
What does this remind you of? Walnut whip. Are you man enough to eat one? Absolutely.
Well, I said it wouldn't be an Eric show without the potty fart humour at least once. Yes. Well,
It's been a while, in fairness. It's been
it's been about 2 hours almost. Yeah, I've been over 2 hours. I haven't had a fart joke, so that's not bad, is it? Guess who I voted for in that poll, by the way? It's Mr. Methane to be the next Prime Minister of Great Britain. I think you do a good job. If you've seen a Mr. Methane.
Who was Mr. Methane?
Yeah, what
was he?
The original one was what's his name? There's a film made about it.
Le Petiman.
Le Petiman, yeah. And I was dragged to the cinema. Girlfriend dragged me to the cinema, and she likes the film. Was it The Warriors and all that crap, And I was sitting there, and Le Petiman was the film, the trailer film. And I thought, oh, bleeding load of French crap. And that was the last of the relationship I had with that girlfriend, because she thought I was disgusting because I was laughing so much at the film. It hit my sense of humour. But yes.
Have you ever seen the Werner Herzog film Strosek? It was made in the 70s, like mid 70s. The beginning title credits of it start in a prison, and a guy suddenly lights a piece of paper and does something similar to what Mr. Methane does. And it's just And it sets the tone for the rest of the film.
Oh, it sounds like a really good film. Yes.
Yeah, Well, what happens is that these motley crew of Germans are so messed up in Berlin that they decide to move to Wisconsin for a better life. And you gotta watch it. It's Herzog is kind of he's got a weird sense of humor, especially in that one.
Well, in the army toilets, apparently, it shows you on Le Pétomime, the army toilets had like a continuous water flushing through, and there was like individual cubicles, if I've explained that correctly. And my father said that what they used to do in the army is they used to make a paper boat, put straw on it, catch light to it, and then put it at the top of the stream, and you hear people going, "Ah, ooh, ah," as it's going along the stream, And that's what happened in La Pétomime. He did the same,
Well, there's this thing about Mr. Methane. Someone's mentioned that he was on telly, and this is his Wikipedia entry. Another Paul, you see. Maybe it's something about this. Paul Oldfield, better known by his stage name Mr. Methane, is a British flatulist who started performing in 1991. He briefly retired in 2006, much to the chagrin of his keen audience, but restarted in mid-2007. He claims to be the only performing farter in the world. He worked the best. Like this last line's the best one. He worked on the railways as a train driver. That's the funniest bit.
Well, the thing is, can you imagine how would you feel like
he was freelance?
Yeah, he was freelance. Yes, he tried it.
It was freelance.
Yeah, I had to reinforce that. Definitely freelance.
Was only performing freelance farter in the world. When he comes and goes, I'm freelance, So
what was your job before you did this? I was a flatulist. A what?
CV, flatulist. Can you give an example of this, please? Yes, certainly.
Yeah.
But there's a fantastic scene in Le Pétomime where he's having a row with his manager, and he says, "If you don't pay me more money, I'll never break wind in Paris again." He walks out, and suddenly the door opens. His backside comes around the corner. He rips one off. But apparently, did you know that Leonard Rossiter was the last actor they had for that part? They couldn't find anybody that act the part. They approached Benny Hill, and he refused. Loads of comedy actors. I think Ronnie Barker refused as well. And Leonard Rossiter was the last one, and he said yes, and he did it fantastically well. The thing is that it was there was court cases because there was people. It caused such a laugh that people were making out they were flatulists when they weren't. They had hidden bellows and things like that under their costumes. There was a woman that tried to take off Le Pétomime, but she had bellows under her skirt and she was pressing them to make these sounds, But,
I can't believe there's a job title called a flatulist.
Flatulist, yeah. Yes, apparently it's something to do with they can actually inhale through their backside and exhale. And it's
he's got his own website, Mr. Methane, really? MrMethane.com. This is the note. It's quite interesting. It says, yes. Mr. Methane is a performing flatulist or petomane. So it's become a name, you see. It's turned into a title. He performs the art of controlled anal voicing, employing the same technique as 19th century Frenchman Joseph Pujol, also known as Le Pétomane. He has performed his fart artistry at the world's top comedy festivals in Montreal, Melbourne and Edinburgh, as well as many public and private shows for exclusive clients, all freelance. Mr. Methane has also showcased his performance farting on many TV and radio shows during his long and illustrious career. Howard Stern called him a true genius, a huge star. Mr. Methane once gate-crashed the auditions of Britain's Got Talent, achieving a lifelong ambition of pointing his rear end at pop mogul Simon Cowell and farting out a rendition of the Blue Danube.
Oh, that was good, that was.
It's a nice song, isn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yes, particularly the wind section. Yeah.
Yes, but
by Heinz.
You don't get with entertainment. You do not get unique acts anymore, though, do you? They're all sort of boring now. I mean, you used to get a lot of unique acts. I mean, Opportunity Knocks. Does anybody remember Opportunity Knocks? You probably had similar, Patrick, in America. Did you? Where we had amateurs coming on doing acts and things.
The Gong Show.
No, it wasn't as cruel as that. No, we did try the Gong Show, but it wasn't sort of British. It didn't take off. No,
yeah.
No. This is where you got people that are trying to become famous, and they do all these weird and wonderful acts. And they did an outside broadcast once. This was with Huey Green. I suppose you never heard of Huey Green. And they went to an army camp, and they had the crappiest acts you could ever wish to think of. You know, a little girl tap dancing, some bloke upside down on a ladder playing the mouth organ, and a belly dancer. Now, an army camp, and these blokes had just come back from Aden. They haven't seen a woman for some time. And she came on doing all this, you know. and they used to have a thing called a clapometer. So when people clapped, and it was apparently, they said it was fake. Somebody had with a finger of an elastic band, and you saw this arrow going up. And they showed and people used to clap, and by the sound of their applause, the person would win it for that week, you see. So a little girl, you know, tap dancing, and then suddenly it was a bloke upside down playing the mouth organ on the ladder. It's just one person, felt sorry for him, so he got this. And suddenly the belly dancer, and of course this woman won. And where did they go the next week? An army camp, and she won it the next week as well. So the other poor sods didn't stand a chance, and she was crap belly dancer. She's just sort of doing all this. And what I like is what Huey Green said. He says, "Just shows our fighting men love culture." I bet I did. Oh yeah. Now it says BDGB2 says my constipation is pretty funny. Yes. Now did Jojo Gizmo says, did you ever see the farting Frenchman on Vic and Bob? No, I never used to watch them. Didn't find them funny that much.
Is National Diarrhea Week coming up soon? Starts on Monday, runs till Friday.
What about diarrhea? Was it a Diarrhea Awareness Day? Please stop, my stomach muscles hurt. Nah. But no, it's funny. Why is it that fart jokes are funny? I've never understood why. I mean, did you ever see? Was it?
I think I know why. I think I know at least an element of why they're so funny. It's because anybody is instantaneously robbed of any claim to dignity they may have just made when that happens. You're literally instantaneously reduced down to the level of an idiotic animal, and it's very funny.
Yeah.
It's something like that. My explanation wasn't funny at all, by the way. There's nothing humorous about that. But it's got to be something.
It's right. Did you ever see... Sorry, carry on, mate.
So let's be honest, one of the things that we do as a challenge is when you go to the loo, and like if you're in the public loo or at work, for example, and you've got a fart coming, you try and make it as loud as possible, don't you?
That's right.
I don't know what your upbringing was like, Paul, but that sounds a little bit sordid.
But it is funny. I mean, on Blackadder, they had this, was it a German bloke? Blackadder was a First World War, was a prisoner of war, and he said, "Please explain why do you find it? Why do you think the breaking of the wind is so funny? We can't understand this in Germany. Why do you English always laugh at the breaking of the wind?" And that was funny itself, the way it was done, and I was almost full with laughter, you know. But no, it is strange, isn't it? You know, I mean, but I think that we don't have that sort of lavatorial humour anymore, do we? That's what's lacking on television. It's just gone. I don't think we have humour on television. But I've got some good news. BBC apparently are desperate. How many thousand? I think it's 2,000 people are refusing to pay their TV licence. Have left the BBC.
That's a shame.
I think there's a steady, relentless exodus. I still think we need to have the 1 million man exodus. I'd be right on for that. wanted 1 million TV license players to all pick a day, sign up here, and we'll all quit on the same day, and just bring it to its knees. That's what's needed. It's like a blow. We need because they keep picking on people, don't they?
Oh, yes.
Well, they still send the envelopes, the letters to me. I mean, I don't watch telly. I haven't watched telly for 7 years, but it's always comes through with the occupier on. Well, that's not me. They can get lost. It's never ever got our name on. It's either straw man or the occupier. Well, that's none of us.
Well, I've had a couple of them knock on my door. The inspectors, I had 2 of them, and I said to the bloke, I said, "Look, I'm not gay." I said, "So why would I be interested in watching the BBC?" And he got, I think his funny bone. He went, and he said, and I said, "Well, you're just wasting your time." I was quite polite to him, but who'd do a job like that? But I think the BBC. I mean, in Germany, you pay the TV license, and it's through the council tax, so you don't get any thing in it. But I think what gets me is that you used to have a radio license. Did you know that in the 60s? Apparently, that you had to have a license to have a radio
and a dog license.
They're thinking of bringing that back, aren't they? A dog license.
Maybe, have they ever come up with a license that you have to get a license to get licenses? That would be useful for their point of view, wouldn't it?
What about
you need a license?
But what Chinese restaurants going to do? I mean, they're going to have to keep registering every week, aren't they? Sorry. If you need a dog license to have a dog.
I read that in Sicily they used to have a shoe license. That you would go and you'd have to license your shoes. Yes.
Well, we had a hearth tax, didn't we? So how many hearths, and a window license. That's why a lot of windows are boarded up. Seriously, bricked up.
Why would you have a shoe license? I mean, do you get half price if you've only got one leg?
Well, it happened. They brought in the tribe to take over the banking there, and then eventually they had licenses for everything because of the money control that money has a tendency to take over, people's.
How long ago was this? I mean, was it recent years or?
No, it was in the 1800s, late 1800s, maybe early 1900s. I read about this in Culture Wars magazine. Somebody had written in about their grandparents, how they moved from Sicily, and that had happened, and then eventually somebody got killed over it because they're finally fed up of the encroachments. Isn't it? Yeah,
that's right. Well, our council tax has gone up 5%, and it's illegal. That's the thing. So really, you're aiding and abetting in a crime by paying it, when you think about it, because they've got about as much right to charge you money on your property as Walmart has.
Well, that's Seriously. The same here with property taxes and what they go to. They pay the public government schools and the wages of the teachers that go to these things, so that the parents can work two jobs to support the family, orphan their children to the government school, and the woman the mother doesn't stay home and raise the children, father go to work, and that kind of the traditional role that people play.
At least you haven't got a television license. You don't have to have a license on TV.
That's just ridiculous. But then no one would watch television if you had to buy a television license.
I think it's only the BBC that do it though, because they don't have adverts. If they had adverts in between their
they do it because they know they can enforce it. That's the only reason you have it, is because it's a smaller area to police.
Yeah, but the thing is, people. The big problem though with the BBC, I can't think of anything in the last 20 years that's worth watching. It's crap, absolute crap. I mean, do you still get BBC crap on your television, Patrick?
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They, it's like PBS. PBS is NPR. NPR is the radio. PBS is our public broadcasting thing. They came up with it in the 60s as a response to I think it was Pete Seeger that, I think it was a split from CBS, but then they created PBS in order to, justify the government spending money to pay directly to tax people, because it comes from the government funding mostly. They claim they do pledge drives in order to support it as
Oh,
donations. So
Yeah,
you get
that's
these
bad.
commercials when you watch it, and they do drives, and then it's just like it's not even worth listening to during the drive season.
Well, but YouTube's doing films now. You can watch films on YouTube. And as I was saying
You
to
always could,
Paul
couldn't you?
earlier, yeah, you got adverts. Well, yeah, but they got more modern ones. I mean, they had Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. I saw that when it first came out. I saw it the other night. I still don't understand the bloody films.
Well, don't you think, just going back to the BBC, do you not think, I still think the news broadcasters, I mean, we know they talk complete bollocks anyway, but do you not think that these individuals are chosen because there's no empathy with them? Because when all they know what the news stories they're talking is a load of crap. Because when they start talking about, like, when a child's been killed or all these people have been murdered, you never see any sort of empathy from them. It's as though they're, I don't know, maybe CIA agents that have been trained to
Hard ass.
infiltrate these particular areas. I mean, it's, well, or maybe they just know that every word they're speaking is a load of lies.
Well,
yeah, they're okay with it, I think, Paul.
Yeah.
And I think it's training, and I think, obviously, spooks everywhere, they have their place, men and women, inside newsrooms, don't they? Probably on editing roles more than anything else, I would have thought, and a few sort of front men or people out there. I mean, the thing about not watching the news is that you're actually better off for it. I mean, if you think about all the years of news, does it actually make any difference consuming this stuff? I don't know whether it does. I mean, it's just agenda-driven nonsense, most of it now. I mean, it probably always was. Yeah, I don't know. I never watched it as a kid. I mean, and the newscasters, I think, were better back then, but that means maybe they were better at brainwashing us or creating the impression of being brilliantly authoritative, which they did. They've got those trained newscasters. So in America, of course, it was Walter Cronkite, and if he spoke, it was like the voice, second only to the voice of God in terms of the conditioning effect they would have on the minds of the listener. So they know what they're doing, but I mean, yeah, the BBC would be better off not existing at all, wouldn't it? But it's... I mean, we don't really need it.
I think what we need...
David Attenborough.
Yeah.
I think what we need, though, as an alternative is everybody just open up the spectrum to private broadcasting.
I agree.
Kind of like what I'm doing with the micro broadcast. Just make it so that anybody that has a powerful transmitter can broadcast whatever they want, and then it becomes a matter of policing the content. You don't want people, broadcasting pornography on the stations. So you would have to come up with a method of doing that. And there should be something like that anyway. And you can't really do it the way you have it now, I suppose, with Ofcom. They're the ones, aren't they the ones that police it?
Yeah, they're sort of immensely powerful. Yeah, it's a ridiculous.
It's all profit.
I keep thinking about music as well, because I keep sort of inquiring into music licenses and looking at it, and the whole thing's so onerous and tiresome.
You can go to the public library and get any music you want for free. And it's like, why isn't there any competition for public libraries then? Why do we have to pay, for licenses? I
just think that there might be a sort of a counter case for the fact, I've said this before, that, when you're in a supermarket and they're playing that audio puke into your ears, which they do, or wherever you are in a public space, I think I'm owed money for having to endure that shit. And we need to bill, and we say, look, instead of us sending bills to you for all the puke that you keep putting out, and then you wanting money back because we want to put good stuff out, the two counteract one another, so we don't owe you any money and you don't owe us, and shut all these licensing agencies down. I mean, I just think that, also the honourable model, the thing that Adam Curry talks about, value for value, he sort of championed that. I think that's fair. I mean, if you actually do derive value from people, you might feel the urge to send them some money. One of the problems, though, I think with internet payment stuff is it's really a pain in the bum. It should be a lot easier, but that's because, organizations like PayPal, etc., have to control it, because if they didn't, there'd be a lot of fraud. Well, I think that this is piffle as well. And I certainly think, although, this is not about blockchain, but that BSV thing, I've been noodling on that, just thinking, good grief, we could get an awful lot done with that. You just maybe the donation economy is unviable. But when you think about huge numbers of musicians, they're unviable as well, really. I mean, the stuff that they put out, it's just got ridiculous. Are people going to be able to consume AI music for more than just a couple of years whilst it's a novelty item? I doubt it somehow. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, if I am wrong, it's kind of tragic, really, that people are going to listen to machines making stuff up. It's not that it's all bad. It's just that there's no human being involved. You know.
But that Food for Thought radio jingle was fantastic. I mean, did you get that off AI? I mean, how did you get it?
Yeah.
Who did it? I mean, did you just sort of sing it in there? And I don't know.
I did. I wrote it all out. No, I just wrote some notes and it just generated 4 of them and all that. There are many like that.
You used Suno, didn't you? Suno?
Yeah. It was a thing called Suno, SUNO. And there's for stuff like that, little bits of audio glue, as I call it. These things are
gotta
cool.
Get Eric
you
doing it. Hey, Paul, we got to get Eric writing jingles for things. Paul,
you need to do jingles.
Yeah, go to suno.com.
I've got me jingles, mate. Yeah, dear.
Yeah, you'll have fun with that. I bet you. We're going to get some funny ones, too.
I'm going to do Rudolph the Randy Reindeer. I can't. I've got to be careful with that one.
Oh, you
Rudolph do. Rudolph. Well, I won't say anything about Randolph, who reigned behind Rudolph and had a brown nose and had problems with stopping.
But do you not think that we have more we've got to get more positivity on the radios and playing healing music and things like that? All the bits that used to be around years ago, and you know, last year, the year before, I was on the bus going down to see my mum and dad when they were in hospital, and these couple of muppets got on board the bus, and one of them got a loudspeaker, and I said to him, you started playing some crappy modern shit, and I said to him, you could put that to some good use on here. I said you could actually play some healing music.
I hate to break it to you though that I've listened.
He started playing some healing music on board the bus, and I'll tell you what, it was amazing. I think that's what we need. Brilliant.
I've listened to many hours of music of the last 100 years. All of the music is stupid. I'm sorry. Most music that's been produced and recorded for mass consumption is just dumb. There's so much material. You really have to look for good material.
Yellow Brick Cinema's one that's good.
What's
Brick
that?
Cinema's really, really good. That's good healing music. Positive, proper.
What's healing music? I guess that's kind of
higher megahertz, so 440 hertz and above.
Okay. Well, is it
well,
like new age
music?
Paul,
that can be done. We need. I mean, there is. I was writing out a to-do list the other day because I'm masochistic, you know, and all of these things. There's tons to do. I mean, I mentioned to Mark.
It's got to be fun, Paul. It's got to be fun in order to do it.
Yeah, it's got to be fun, and I think. But the thing with the frequency stuff is, you know, we should be going at whatever the kilohertz are. I mean, even looking at the history of the way that these tunings have been changed and all this kind of stuff, it's a big topic, and it's, of course, full of irritation sitting on your shoulder as you're going through the whole process because you're going, bloody hell, they tampered with every single thing that's natural has been tampered with and just nudged over to one side to create a sort of discord in your life. It's mad. I was watching a thing the other day about bells. You know, we've not done a whole thing on bells, but the whole destruction, the volume of bells that were destroyed in the late 1800s across Europe, and the buildings that they were hanging in, which were really healing centers. I mean, I don't know whether some of these photos that I've seen are AI made. They've got a lot of these black and white photos in these Tartarian things. I find it's quite sort of gripping. Maybe my brain's gone funny, but it is because in the sense of what's been lost and what's been intentionally taken away, and there was one, and now whether it's made up or not, I don't know, but it was talking about the number of bells in this building. There were like 450 in this hospital. 450 bells all over the place, above beds, all going off, all at different frequencies for different patients.
Because to heal people,
Well, no.
Yeah.
If it's a hospital, it's an early alert system, kind of like you ring the bell for a nurse to come to your assistance like they do in the hospital.
Well, that's definitely there, but these bells were enormous, Patrick, and some of the yards where they show you where they said they melted them all down. There's also I was seeing a thing the other day about some audio resonance checks that have been done on these medieval cathedrals. I don't know whether medieval is exactly the right phrase, but several hundred years, these spectacular buildings. And
the Bolshevik Revolution, they went through a lot of Russian churches and tore out the bells of the churches when they destroyed.
Because the bell, both the bells and the big organs. That sounds wrong. The organs in churches and cathedrals emit such a vibration, because we're vibrational beings. And the vibration that you get from both the bells and the organs heal us.
A lot has to do with,
of course,
composing, though. I mean, a lot of this music, like especially like church music, if you listen to, say, a Gregorian chant, a lot of that's done in perfect fifths. In musical terms, you take a scale and it's like the fifth one up the scale if it matches it, and there's a healing. Just audiologically, you listen to that and you immediately go into a different frame of mind and more meditative and calming than you would if you were.
I agree with you. It does calm you down. But I mean, do you get these bozos in their cars, and all you hear is boom, 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 boom,
rhythm,
boom, boom. And I can't stand rap, which I think the beginning letter C is silent, because to me it's just verbal diarrhea. But the nearest thing to perfection,
it's rhythm driven.
Well, the nearest thing to perfection I've heard is Nat King Cole singing Stardust. I don't think you can get better than that. I mean,
it's got melody.
Is perfect. Well, and the whole setup of it is perfection. You can't. I don't think that is perfection. I don't think you can get better. His breathing technique, everything was perfect. You know,
it could be that popular music is all slightly warped away from something that's really, really good. It's not that I'm saying that all popular music is bad. I mean, most of it is, I think, to everybody. You have your own particular thing. You end up sometimes liking things that loads of people don't like. I just happen to like that. I can't tell you why. But I think this thing about the buildings, I mean, it's a science I know very little about other than that it seems to exist. This thing about measuring the impact of frequencies on the human body. And it's as if there was a body of knowledge about this as a healing technique that is basically reflected in the precise designs of these buildings. They were built for that purpose, absolutely. About the resonance and the sound, and that they were basically healing centers in the literal sense of the word. Just by being in the buildings alone, being in these echo spaces, the frequency of the walls, the way that they handle sound, somebody knew what they were doing. That's what I'm saying. There's a knowledge, and it does tap into this Tartarian thing. I'm just going to use that word, even though it seems to be a vast topic, and the disappearance of some kind of a body of knowledge with regards to architecture, building techniques, and all these other things. And it's gripping. It's also slightly, I find it disconcerting. But I mean, there's a story when Napoleon was retreating from Russia. There's a story written by some captain talking about some kind of a beam that was striking the troops and making them very ill, some sort of energy wave that was coming across. And there's something has gone on. I mean, I've mentioned it with regards to sort of American history. There seems to be sort of colossal holes in it somehow. I mean, there probably isn't, but there is in my head.
There are.
Yeah, they're like sort of ludicrously
can't be explained, especially in Latin America.
Yeah. There's one. There's one in Brazil. I saw this photograph of one in Brazil. I go, how the hell did they build that? These things are absolutely spectacularly beautiful. And there's, we can't build that now. But it's as if a body of knowledge has gone. And one of the ones was talking about, I can't remember what the building was, but I guess this is atypical of many things. It was a building in America. And I can't remember which city it was in, but it said, well, this is the official story. It took 8 years to build, and there were 1,000 men working on it. And you go, okay, well, that's the beginning of a story. But when you actually start looking at the logistics of it and the numbers that are involved, it sort of doesn't make sense. Like, because the 1,000 men, or whatever the number was, that were working on this,
an army unit,
were the most supremely skilled stonemasons on the face of the earth. And yet these buildings in that period of time sprang up everywhere. They're in Australia. They're all over the place, tons of them. And I get overwhelmed by the volume of this supposed photographic evidence. If it's true, I've got to tell you, there's a bit of me going, are they running, this is me being super paranoid about this stuff, are they running AI systems? Because it appears to me that some of these photographs actually don't look real. It might be much easier to get AI to replicate an old, foggy black and white photograph and keep doing these things. I wish it had the name of the place on the bloody images when they come up.
Yeah, with
things like, with regards to the churches, I was going to carry on with that. The churches, if you ever look at the buildings themselves, they've got, where the bells are, there'll be specific holes in the structure of the building to allow the sound to escape. But also, on that, with regards to the buildings, not just churches, but buildings in general, there's I don't know if it was North America where they showed there was a massive building that had been created in the side of a cliff or a mountainside or something like that, and they said it was done with hand tools. And yet they get this guy that was there, and he got a sheet of paper, A4 paper, and said, "This is how close this is. I can't even get this sheet of A4 paper inside the thin side into the crack." Yeah. And there's one where there's footage of a bath that apparently weighed about 150 odd tons, made of marble, which was apparently created with hand tools. And you think, bullshit. There's no way that's been made with that. And,
that's right.
And how would they carry it there? 140 tons is the same weight as a locomotive.
Yeah, don't you find it sort of astonishing that this stuff has been in front of your eyes all your life, and you never questioned it? And I keep saying to myself, what is it that's in front of my eyes right now that I can't see, that I'm seeing through the wrong lens? It's quite a thing.
How did you find out about this idea of this Tartaria notion? Because
it's been bumbling around, hasn't it? For a couple of years, it's been bumbling around, and there are all sorts of ways of explaining.
Fellow, what's the name of that?
I don't know.
Aussie guy. I'm trying to.
I don't know, but I've got a couple of Tartarian guys over here to contact. One of whom I'd like to get on the show. I'm not saying this Thursday. It'd be great if he says yes. If I get to speak to him tomorrow morning. I've got one. I've got a massive one on the whole thing, and I see all these sorts. I'm within the last 5 years.
Okay,
within the last 5 years.
Now, I have this book called Tri Paradiso by Cotton Mather. He helped found Yale University here. He was connected with...
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with his name. Yeah,
Cotton Mather. Yeah, well, and then his father founded Harvard. And
right.
But he was involved. They were the Puritans that founded America, and he wrote this book. It was toward the end of his life, 1720. And he goes into finding the Garden of Eden. Like, there had to have been a spot, he conjectures, and says all of the different theories that were presented to him at the time. And there was this idea of Tartaria, which is basically that the Garden of Eden was where currently the Caspian Sea is. That at one point it wasn't flooded, and that it was exposed. And that from there, then it moved to Babylon, the civilization, and then there's the theories of it being where the Euphrates enters the Persian Gulf, and this sort of thing. And the technology, I think you mentioned that, and it goes into details about the different things they had, like agricultural technology that was being used in that area, the Babylonian type architecture. And how that spread throughout the world. And Cotton Mather was part of the whole East India Company and that sort of thing. So it goes into the history of their expeditions. So anyway, I thought that would be an interesting book if you ever wanted to look into it.
Yeah,
like the historical writing of it, because it's 1720. I mean, that's even before the Napoleon thing you were talking about.
Well, this thing with the Tartaria, I also think links back to the Nephilim and the giants as well, in that I often wonder whether, obviously we give all these hills and mountains names, and this is probably a bit off topic, but are the names of these hills actually giants that are buried there? And the reason why I ask that is because if you travel from up towards Bangor in North Wales, along the country road, the A5, there's massive stones alongside the road, as in they are thousands and thousands of tons in weight, and we're told they slid down the hill. Well, if it slid that far, it would have carried on. It won't just stopped. It's so these boulders have been placed there rather than actually moved of their own accord. And then I wonder, well, is that where we get the different names for all these different? I mean, who stood around and thought, oh no, I'll call that hill Ben Nevis? Or are these names of giants that are buried there?
Well, what about in Cambridge? There's the Gog and Magog Hills. Gog and Magog Hills in Cambridge.
That's a reference to the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of speculation about any of this stuff, and you don't know. That's why I like to look at the older literature about what people thought back then, and the closer back in time that you can get to these events and these architectural buildings, the better, I would assume.
It's fascinating.
Because it seems like as time goes on, everything kind of fractalizes, and you get more and more information added to things. So to go back to the original source material of it.
You do, but it also seems to me that there was some ability to basically obscure this, and I don't know what I mean by this, but this period of history, because I don't know what I'm talking about in terms of start and finish. But the buildings are astonishing, and even these buildings in London, all over the place, and then more than that, where the ceilings are so high, you go, why? Just really, why put an extra 10 or 15 courses of bricks in? Why were you doing that? Why would you, oh no, because it's for opulent. We're given certain reasons, which at first sound pretty good, but this is an awful lot of graft. And I just think the logistics are always very interesting. Like this guy was saying, where would you get 1,000 guys to do this? How many of them were there in the world at the time that all these buildings were going up? I mean, the speculation was that there were guilds. Now, we know that there were guilds, and that there were guilds that kept their building secrets secret. But that's where the value of that particular guild lay. We have apprenticeships, and you spend 10 years with a guy, and we might let you somewhere near a stone or something like. I don't know quite how it operated, but you get the gist. It takes time to grow a skilled craftsman of that particular type, and it may well be that at that point in history, the Freemasons, and one of the explanations was that they worked with a stone that was called freestone. Now, all these overlapping sort of things, they may all contain an element of truth in them. I'm not saying that's particularly it, therefore bingo, we know exactly what. But yeah, all part of it. But there must have been a point before Freemasonry was infected with Kabbalistic Judaism, where it was actually literally about Masons building things. And of course, this is what we attribute, to the building of the cathedrals.
I mean, Chartres, though, Paul. It's so obscure. The history of that, the beginning, because you can't tell where that got subverted if you go back.
Well, no, I'm not saying I can. I'm just sort of spitballing here. I'm not even trying to. I wouldn't even expect in this lifetime to even get to the bottom of the whole thing.
Chartres, you were saying.
Well, yeah, Chartres, there was a little explanation about its load-bearing capabilities, and we know about flying buttresses and all these things. And when you bring a sort of more detailed eye to bear on anything, it starts to give up its secrets, and it's almost as if we're trained to not do that very much. It's hard work, to the modern mind. Quick, give me a video game. Not me personally, but you know what I mean. That kind of stuff. And I just, I often think that the best. Well, for me, a little shorthand is, what would Holmes do? I'm serious, right? What would you, if you bring analytic sort of focus on things, it starts to offer up stuff that you can't see without using the eye of the mind to really look into the whole thing. And I find logistics really fascinating because you go, well, it's here. Well, how did it get here? How did they move 300,000 tons of stone? How did they even just move it? All that stuff.
And that brings on to something else. Well, again, I think the history that we're taught is a load of nonsense in the respect that, like churches, for example, every town, every village, no matter what size of town or village it is, they've got a church. Now, why would you need such a vast church in somewhere like Wells? Wells is a really tiny, I know it's classed as a city, but it's tiny. But the cathedral in Wells is absolutely vast. Now, would they, if the civilizations before us were much poorer, as we're told, would they waste so much energy and materials, saying, well, we'll make that door, even though the tallest being right now is 7 foot, we'll make that door 30 foot tall. It'd be a complete waste of money or whatever it is they would have had back then.
It's not what would occur to you logically, is it? Particularly if you're...
Or of those doors
it's
built
those
for
things,
the size of the beings.
Yep. No, I think that myself.
And I'll give you a good example of this. If you ever go down to London and have a look at get off a Hyde Park Corner tube station, have a look at the Hyde Park, in the middle of the roundabout at Hyde Park, and then go up to Marble Arch at the top. I was looking at these when I was down there the last time, and there's a wrought iron gate in the middle of the building in Hyde Park Corner at the bottom of the and this gate must be about 50 foot tall, 60 foot tall. And you think, well, who could open that? I couldn't push that open. I bet somebody with a locomotive couldn't push that open. So why would they waste all that material unless, again, the beings that were opening and closing the gate were a lot bigger, and that section that's left was once part of something a lot bigger? I question everything. I do question absolutely everything.
It makes life interesting when you do, doesn't it? Yeah, I don't know if you're going to come up with the answer, but the questions are absolutely dazzling. Yeah, me too. And I get sort of off balance when I'm looking at it, really getting clear. I don't know, dick. And neither does anybody else, really. When you really start to look at these things, why would you logically build these houses so damn big? What's the point? Oh, it's a display of power. Yeah, but, really, they had the resources to just throw all these buildings up all the time? I mean,
they had the people power. They had the people and their ability to do it. They had the leisure time to create the architectural layout of it. Someone had to plan it. And then they had...
It's the planning of it. I mean, the design of these things. I mean, they're oriented...
and executing them,
to Earth's magnetic fields. And the more you look into it, you go, this is not just, let's stick it up here because it's a nice place. It's nothing...
I agree.
There's so much to it.
I think cathedrals were healing centres because when you look at the seating, it doesn't seem to be right. It looks all out of place. And they were built, when you look at cathedrals and that, because the difference between energy lines and ley lines, people get them confused.
Well,
and a lot of these cathedrals are built on energy lines.
To build them, though, you had to have a distribution of wealth among the people to be able to support people to build them.
That's right.
What did they do? What was different than our current, situation?
But also, and this taps into the dare I say, the flat Earth thing, in that a lot of the churches and cathedrals have on top of them a copper dome or a copper antenna to bring in free energy. I still think that's what they were for. So if you're ever in Shrewsbury, go around off towards the quarry, there's a big church or whatever it is on the side of the road as you go around, and it's got a gold cross on the very top of it, and underneath is a copper dome. Well, gold and copper are both brilliant conductors of electricity, and that sort of design is mirrored across the world, not just in the UK. You can go to like France or Germany or China, and there'll be buildings that look very similar in design, or in fact might even be mirror images of the same thing, but exactly the same gold or copper top. Which I believe that I think alongside the vibration they were giving us free energy, which obviously the powers that be couldn't allow that because they want us to be skint all the time, as it were. They can't give us it for free.
If you stick a zinc rod and a copper rod into your garden, and you connect the wires across, you'll get 0.05 or 0.07 of a volt. And there was a chap in the 1930s that did similar in his garden and managed to light all his house up free of charge every evening. And the authorities claimed on him pretty
Earth batteries, quick. That's what it's called,
that's
wasn't
right,
it?
Earth battery. That's right, Earth batteries. And
well,
you can actually
in America, when they were putting the telegraph system in, whole stretches as power boosters they didn't talk about it, but that's exactly what they did in the base of the telegraph poles. They had batteries in them. Free, just running all the time.
Yeah.
Can't let that get out. So we've got to get what you say, zinc and copper. Is that what we need, Eric?
Zinc and copper. That's it. And if you put, if you go and get some, what's it now? Charcoal, and put charcoal round the flint. So you dig bigger holes, and round the copper, apparently it conducts better electricity. And if, of course, you link several up, you'll have enough wattage to have a light bulb going all the time, day and night, and it lasts for years.
Is that my project then for this summer? I need to sort of light the garden up. But you remember when Mark was those Italians that came over, the electric vegetable men?
I've seen. I think it was a Marrow, bloody great thing done by electroculture, and I'm trying this out. I'm getting copper wire, copper, or what do you call it, copper piping, and I've done a little bit of electroculture, and yes, it does let plants grow a lot better. So I think there's something in it, and we don't really need artificial fertilizers. We can actually use electroculture.
Well, when you think about the again with churches and cathedrals, they have a thing. They put the stained glass in there to stop the system working, but a lot of them have what they call a cathode on the outside, usually on one of the main walls. And then it's a bit of a random link, but if you cut some like an orange or an apple, not an apple. If you cut an orange in half, it mirrors pretty much the same pattern as the cathodes do on the cathedrals, because again they all resonate energy, exactly the same thing.
That's right. And if you get the book Supernature, that was printed in the 70s, and a very famous book. If you make a cardboard pyramid to the dimensions of, say, in a book, you can resharpen razor blades underneath the pyramid. And we tried it as an experiment. I think it worked in the office where I worked. Left it over the weekend and came in.
Much of this stuff, Eric, seems to sort of a hidden natural technology. Like it's a technology of an understanding of the true forces of nature in terms of the voltage in the earth, what's actually happening in the ether, all of these things and it seems that connected to these building structures, it's part of one unified sort of body of knowledge that some group had in the past. And so you look at these things and it's not about sort of putting up big electrical systems or computers and all that kind of stuff. We've sort of gone down a different path. I'm not saying better. I mean, maybe it just works in different ways, but it does feel like a sort of a unified thing that used to exist, and the giants probably play into it. Yeah, sure.
What I know of cathedrals and Catholic teaching and dogma about them is that they are set up as communication, early communication. The bells signified that the consecration of the Eucharist, the bread and wine turning into the body and blood of Christ in the altar and during Mass, they would ring the bells, and that would signify to the people in the fields working nearby that they were to genuflect, and that was a moment of sacredness. They also use them to call people in to the Mass from field work. So you could be a long distance away from these churches, and they would purposely set up the acoustics so that they would travel as long as a distance as possible.
That's right.
So that people would know to come.
But is it not a possibility that they acquired that and then repurposed it for those things?
Well,
I tend to view those buildings as being far more valuable as actual healing centers than they are as places of organized religions. That's just me.
Apparently, the ancient Egyptians, the pyramids were already there. The ancient Egyptians just used the buildings.
They didn't build them.
Years
they absolutely did not build those things.
They did not build them. No. And there's lots of things that you notice that, DJB to us said that modern art is actually made of shit, and he's right. It is.
Well,
and modern architecture is crap.
If you think about the cathedrals and what it took to build those were done in the days before, the Protestant revolt, the Reformation, and what Martin Luther protested in those indulgences were what was used to pay people to do those things. Like, it's interesting to me that like they were able to create these great buildings of art that they've just built on as centuries go by, but they use the original base design and just create more elaborate and beautiful architecture based on it.
But I'll photograph it soon, but where Dr. Miles Fleetwood has got his shop, that's got jetties over the top, and that is where the top floor juts out over the street. And it was done like that so that you could actually counterbalance the timbers or the floor timbers above. And there's carvings on the side of the corner.
Yeah, you said about that.
The shop. Yeah. And again, I'm going to photograph it soon because it's really quite fantastic. And the strange thing is, his shop is not listed, so they could knock it down if they wanted to because it's not listed and it's really years old. You know, I mean, there's loads and loads of old photographs of the Victorian times, and it was still there. And it's sad that these places go to waste. I mean,
but I think that's done by design though, because a lot of the buildings that you see that are derelict in towns and cities are what I classify as old world buildings. So, for example, in Wolverhampton, they've just recently demolished what used to be the eye hospital, and that was an old world building. It was basically red brick, which is deemed as iron ore. So it was a conductor of electricity. I think a lot of these old buildings are deliberately, like the one in Glasgow, the one that caught fire that they said it was a vape shop. It wasn't. It wasn't.
Oh yeah.
With that, it was deliberately destroyed because it's part of the old world.
Well, my late mother had to go along for a test at Hertford Hospital. And Hertford Hospital was built in about 1840, 1820. And you could tell all the doors had been handmade, and it was really oldie-worldy in there. They've gutted it now. I think what they've done, they've taken the insides out and modernised the inside and just left the facade on the front. And it's so sad because you could tell that the builders really did a very bloody good job of that building. And most hospitals make me feel uneasy. This place didn't. It had a very nice vibe about it. So, you know, it's very, very sad. And loads of people like that building as well. But
a lot of those old buildings were monasteries and nunneries, convents.
That's right.
But
with music, you know, it's surprising how it changes how you feel. You feel a bit down. Yep. Music can cheer you up, or it can make you a little bit down. It's
remorseful.
It's remarkable. You know, another fantastic singer was Ella Fitzgerald. She not all the records she did, but you know, Nat King Cole and Ella Fitzgerald, their diction was perfect, and I'm sure there's those type of singers around today. There's lots of them. We just don't hear them. You get things like the Spice Girls, which is a big next thing to crap you could ever wish to think of. They're not talented. They're talentless, and they couldn't actually sing on their own. They just couldn't hold a note. It was useless.
No, it's the sex robot dance they do over and over again.
Yeah. And one of them came from near where I live. Bosch Spice lived up the road from where I live. Seriously. Yeah.
Yeah, one of them was from around here as well. I think they were called Old Spice.
Anyway, I don't know about you, but
your poll's almost, you know, you've got a few more people on the poll. It's tied.
Really? Oh, yep. hang on. I got to have a quick update of the pipe. Let's have a look, mate.
Three-way tie.
Three-way tie now, is it? Now, it's bleeding. It gone missing. Where's it gone? Now, oh yes. We got. Oh, it's changed again. It's 30% is global warming and 30% is overpopulation. And those naughty Russians wanting to bomb our chip shops is down to 26%. So it's changing all the time. That's brilliant. Fantastic. And I got a comment on there as well. Bloody hell. I highly recommend this platform to all members. It's very beneficial.
Spam bot.
Right, it's a spam bot, and it will expire. It says it will expire soon. It's expiring immediately. Bang, bang, bang.
I think overpopulation is the most fearful one that they try to push the most.
Yeah.
Because you got too many people. Well, the problem is there again, it's the distribution of worldly goods.
Overpopulation.
It's
It's the biggest load of crap you could ever wish to think of. We're not overpopulated because we got an underpopulation problem, and it's a serious. We're leading towards extinction because we're not having enough babies. Anyway, I don't know about you, but I need to hit the hay.
No,
Because
me too.
I was up early.
Fantastic. Yeah, thanks, Eric. Been lovely.
Thanks a million. And there's a rumour there's a show coming on this Thursday.
There will be.
Rumble
There'll be a show
Studio.
Thursday. Yeah. Monica Schaefer's going to be on, I think, in the last hour, so she'll be the guest. She comes back for the last Thursday every month. I haven't confirmed with her, but I think she will, and I'm hunting for another guest, and if not, it'll be just lots of horse shit. Which is what it usually is. Really high quality, intelligent horse shit, but horse shit nevertheless.
Fart jokes?
Good stuff.
Would you like me to do some demonstrations, do some imitations of Mr. Methane?
You might not need to, because I'm actually just downloading all his tracks, really. So we might do that. But I don't want to steal your thunder pants, as it were. I think really we'll try and keep this aspect of communication in your shows. I'm going to try
I wonder
retain
why.
a little bit of dignity for as long as I pathetically can. Yes. So
Yes, I can't think why, Paul. Can you? It's a mystery that. Anyway, thank you, everybody.
In our chat, by the way, I've just dropped in a link to Yellow Brick Cinema. It's worth
Thanks,
have a listen to that when you get time. It's
I
just
certainly will.
Brilliant stuff.
Well, thank you very much for coming on in the nick of time, because I thought I'm going to have half an hour on my own, which turned out to be over that time. So thank you, but two Pauls. Thank you for and Patrick for coming on. Also Ben, who was on earlier, and everybody in chat. Absolutely fantastic. And all I got to say is please subscribe, tell others, and put the old thumbs up. And whatever happens, have a bloody good laugh. And good night.